Well, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody from all around the world, hello and welcome to another episode of The Watch But With Me, your host, Jean-Luc Watch. Make some noise. Yes, indeed. Clap it up, get excited wherever you are. We are back with another action-packed show for you today, covering the world of boxing and beyond on this championship rounds edition of the Watch What. That's right, your voice, your word is your bond, and your conversation is what's wanted and needed for the entirety of the show. You all drive the whole of this conversation. You control the dynamics, the direction, and the whole atmosphere that this show is going to take on. It is your time to shine. It's your time to work. It's your time to let your voice be heard for the masses around the globe on the hottest show in all the globe. To Watch What With Me, your host, Jean-Luc Watch. We thank you all for tuning in. We thank you all for listening. We thank you all for having yourself on here with us today, and we got a whole bunch of things to cover with. We got Nick Ball and Figueroa having their way, and they're about to have their fight happen tomorrow. That can set up a potential fight with Shu Carrington, finally, who's the newest champion at 126. We got conversations with Canelo'S off of a recent interview that's going to be coming out with him in the ring, involving his reaction to, or full-blown reaction to the fight with Terrence Crawford, as well as his own personal motivation for the rematch. And if he can't get the rematch, what is going to be his motivation for one of the greatest of all time to continue in this sport, as well as so much more, like with Teofimo Lopez, talking with him in terms of his next steps in his career. More importantly, the skill set that we've seen get shut down by Shakur Stevenson. Is that now something that he needs to fully revamp and retool, not just with his own dimensions of inner circle, like getting rid of his coach, but also straight up as a stylistic fighter? Does he need to change to be able to continue to be dominant and to get back on the highest mountains that he was on during his championship run before Shakur? And so much more that we had to cover. Also, like with Boots Ennis, talking with him and Virgil Ortiz. Oh, now, wait a minute. Could have something coming about with that fight finally coming to fruition. Yes, I know we said we keep saying it may happen, it could be, it might be. Everybody hold your breath. Okay, we can put the brakes on that. Strictly, we're going to briefly touch on the cryptic tweets that we had, well, one cryptic social media post that manager had, as well as the bigger picture with Boots Ennis. What in the world, if it ain't for if it ain't for Virgil Ortiz, is he going to get a championship opportunity against the likes of Zayas or Fundora next in his run to dominate the division? What's going to be the move? We're going to talk about all that and so much more right here on the show. We thank you for tuning in. We thank you for listening. Please go ahead and leave a like on the video. If you haven't already, keep on commenting your thoughts and opinions in the chat down below. We want to hear from you all, as well as please be sure to keep on subscribing. Come on and join the empire. That's right, be a part of the hottest show in all of the globe right here on YouTube and on every podcasting platform imaginable. Rate us 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts, locally, nationally, Spotify, Apple, you name it, we're there. If we're not, tell us, we will get there absolutely. And please be sure to share the show with everybody that you know, so we can keep on building up this empire together, all with you and your support. We can make it possible. We can make it grand. We can make this show so much better. And please, if you can support this channel, we got Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description. If you feel that this show is worth keeping on and worth keeping going, we would love for you to support the channel. We also got Super Chat, Super Gifts, all those outlets of giving. If you can support, it would mean the world to us, and we appreciate all of you having the time with us on today. But we got a whole bunch of stuff to discuss. We got boxing cover, we got sports W2, we got your voice to hear, and we got the championship rounds that we got for the entirety of the show to go and carry us all the way through to the afternoon. So without further ado, it's time to work, it's time to shine, it's time to do what we do in making your afternoon great. So it's time to step into the ring, and it's time for the championship rounds. Let's get it started. Ring the bell. Yes, sir. Got my coffee, got my drinks, got my energy. Oh, wait, hold on. Before I continue, I forgot to open up a window. Give me 1 second. I need to make sure I get my natural light. Look at it. Staring wonder. Don't it look pretty? Don't it look nice? Don't it look just great? You see how the room just lights up? We on a cool afternoon down south, and I tell you what, boy, that window that we got, it does wonders for the how do we say the complexion of the show? And hey, I'm just glowing. Like, hey, look, I'm black. It's Black History Month. I'm telling you, I need that sun beaming off my face. I look like a bronze a statue, an Adonis. As some, as some people may want to say, but even still, we got a whole bunch of stuff to cover. So let's jump right into it, shall we? Come on, let's hear your voices in the chat as well. But before we do, let's talk about some conversations in the world of boxing and the other aspects of this fight. We can touch on Boots, we can touch on Tio, but first and foremost, let's touch on quickly with Canelo Alvarez. Yes, indeed. Yes, we do. And this is specifically on Canelo's motivation. Yes, right, that is the title of this, at least in this initial segment in the show. Canelo's motivation in his wanting to return to the sport of boxing. Now, remember, there's a podcast coming out with Canelo Alvarez going through with the same buddy that always has the sunglasses on. Don't know his name, but he's just always around during ring events carrying that Ring Magazine belt. But he apparently is going to be doing a tell-all in reference to the fight with Terence Crawford that Canelo had when he got dog-walked and completely mauled from the standpoint of getting outboxed completely by one of the greatest fighters we've ever seen in Canelo Alvarez. And again, we applaud that performance by one of the greatest of all time. But even still, no disrespect, but we're trying to say, with that being the case of many things that we've had with Canelo since that fight has been, his rematch going to happen? Will we see him get his get back? Can we see the biggest name in boxing come through and get his revenge one more time against the man who beat him? Well, they all got shut down as we're following the track record with Terence Crawford retiring. Yes, indeed. Oh my, shocked the world, did it not? Had everybody on business when Crawford had reached the biggest pinnacle in his career, getting the respect that he finally deserved from the all-world appeal of the masses of casual and hardcore fans. He then said he vanished without a trace when the world needed him most, when they wanted him the most. He vanished, similar to the Avatar. But for his own reason, because he said, hey, I'm done. I did what I needed to do. My health, my safety, and all that stuff is indeed worth more than anything else. And now Canelo is sitting there still, he's in the previews of this interview, still egging on for, I want this rematch. Terence Crawford himself said, it ain't happening. Now with that reality, we are now laden with the concern. I won't say it's a problematic issue, but it is a concern when we look at the world of Canelo Alvarez, because how can a man who's been at the top of the mountain get back up and want to hone in on that motivating factor one more time, especially at 36 years old, with him getting up in age? Yes, he says he has a lot more in the tank, but remember, most of the other times that he was fighting, most of the other times that he was coming through and boxing, even when it was Floyd Mayweather, even when it was Bivol, excuse me, and now when it was with Terence Crawford, he was wanting to get back. He wanted to win to get back to those, get back at those defeats. He kept on winning to get back at Bivol. He kept trying to call him out and kept on egging to get that rematch and had a clear-cut goal. Now against Crawford, fired up. Let me get my get back. I'm gonna be ready next time. Ain't got that no more. And now everything it's a weird position for Canelo. Not because he still isn't a big star. Not because he still can't run the table at 168. Not because we're not seeing him as still solidified as one of the greatest fighters we've seen of this generation and beyond. But it's concerning because that kind of grasping at the ghost that you want to chase to try to make it real now it's kind of gone away. And it draws concern of, even with somebody as dominant as Canelo, depending on how he has the outlook of this division, from the standpoint of the current landscape of 168, should we be in the right to question somewhat the driving factor of Canelo's motivation to continue to want to keep boxing at a high level? Yes, he loves the sport, but when you don't have the same brass ring to chase, sometimes you don't have that same unction per se, even if it's in defeat. We even saw with Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury, yes, the itch may have never went away, but it showed up was diluted after his losses to Usyk. The first one got him hot, and he was saying, "Oh, I want my get back. I want my revenge. I felt like I was robbed." They voted for they got the win to him because he was in UK, making all the excuses and all that stuff was driven. Second time he did it though, he then kind of went to the ether. And for over a year plus, genuinely was like, I ain't doing nothing. I ain't calling out nobody with nothing. We ain't even attempting to do anything. Wasn't until Anthony Joshua started coming back and all of a sudden, okay, wait a minute, might have something else to chase, but we were genuinely thinking Fury was done. For real. Now when it comes to Canelo, that same boat may come to dock at his very household. Can he keep the drive to want to continue his not just laden career to further cement or even elevate the stardom that he has? Can he truly get up for a fight in the same way that he wanted to get up to fight Canelo? Can he have that driving force, that unction to want to push still, to chase the belts, to chase greatness, when most of the people in this division you've beaten, the one guy you want to beat, you can't fight no more, and level the game without the thing that helps propel that love kind of becomes a little bit more difficult to gauge and to hone and keep as the main thing. Now, I'm not saying that that's Canelo in terms of, oh yeah, he won't be motivated, but it's just a concern that we can see come up. It could potentially show up in his fights if he just all of a sudden, my heart's not in it like I think it is or like I want it to be. With that big with that big, again, brass ring now no longer being attainable anymore. He's lost investment in Bivol. He's gone through that. Floyd ain't there for no more revenge. Everybody else that's at 168 outside of Shiraz, gone. He's not chasing Benavidez at all. Benavidez has left him behind because of the fact he's going up to cruiserweight to fight Zurdo Ramirez for the titles come in May this year. So all the prospects that would get him, okay, there's something to get you excited, something to get you locked in. Not saying that he isn't already, but in that extra oomph, that extra, okay, there's something at stake. Not necessarily there in the immediate vicinity of Canelo's best weight class of 168. So it's just a concern. Not saying it's a concrete thing, but it's just a concern. Can Canelo still get up to fight in the same way now that not just Crawford, but the majority of the things that would have motivated him are either out of boxing entirely or left him behind, like with Benavidez? Just a question and food for thought. But even still, we still got more to cover, and we still got the championship rounds that we want to hear your voice and your opinions, your thoughts on everything involving the world of boxing and beyond sports, NFL, NBA, video games, movies, sports, whatever the word you want to see and whatever word you want to talk about. We can be about it right here on this show, no doubt about it, as well as keep on talking about topics and keep on hearing your voices like we have on this next segment of this show, which is, we can go, honestly, this can go two ways. We can either go Boots or we can go Teo. We'll save Boots for a little bit later. We'll say Boots for a little bit later. I feel like there's a lot of people that got some sentiments surrounding Boots, and I want to bring up Boots going up against some of the other elevated stars of this recent tenure that we've had from the end of December to January. Like Shakur Stevenson, if that ever happens and transpires, if he moves up quick enough, or even the likes of Devin Haney. But we will address that later on in the show. Right now, let's touch on the world of Teofimo Lopez in the aftermath of his defeat against Shakur Stevenson in what was indeed a masterclass affair for one of the most potent figures in this sport from the standpoint of talent and in one Shakur Stevenson. Now, he got schooled. He got beat up. He beat up and beat straight up. and now he is looking to the future of 147. So there's a real question that we have to gauge now. Though the division is looking not nearly as dense, and I've even said I'm confident he can still make a run at 147 with this elevated divisions. The answer, if he does do it, he's going to have to go and get rid of his father. That's number one. That's the biggest thing. We already covered that. The second biggest thing is the question of the stylistic change. When we say what's next for Teofimo Lopez, it's not just about the career trajectory. How could he go and potentially say, okay, I'm just going after all the belts and we're going to try to get a big fight with Devin Haney? Boom. Could that be an option? Could it be? I think there was actually a potential situation where Teo and Devin were going to fight each other, hypothetically at 147, before this fight with Shakur Stevenson. I can't remember exactly. I think that's what happened, but I can't specifically remember. Off the top of my head, if you have it in front of you, please correct me. But even still, beyond to that, the stylistic essentially stylistic makeup of Teo was shown as obsolete to the prowess and boxing acumen, the excellence of execution. That was the technical perfection in Shakur Stevens in an incredible display. Now at the division where everybody else is also bigger, he's still going to be one of the most elite boxers in that sect of weight class, but still it's going to be a little bit closer matched up. It's going to be people at or bigger than the size of Shakur Stevenson, with still some good speed to boot. Though the skill set might not be in the same vein, it has now been shown, okay, it can be rendered useless. Is there a need to have Teofimo Lopez have a stylistic change as a whole in how he goes about his fights as a boxer? It's a valid question, not just because we're trying to make Teo seem like, oh my gosh, he's on the downward spiral. His career is getting ready to end. He ain't got nothing with nothing. He can't. He's a lost cause unless he does X, Y, Z. We're not saying that. We're not saying that. What we are saying though is that there is a need to have kind of a come to grips moment, a reality check of sorts when looking at the landscape of your career versus your next allotted challenge in the world of boxing. As this is an unforgiving sport. Excuse me, I'm drinking my coffee. I apologize for the slight pause. Also, please keep on liking the stream, keep on sharing the show. I'd love to hear your thoughts on everything going on. But let me come read what you all got to say. Also, we have people in the chat. Excuse me, I'm sorry. Al Booger, what's going on, brother? Thank you for coming back. We're so happy that you're here with us on today. Yeah, they were. Okay, so thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, they were in talks for the Riyadh season card. I knew there was an opportunity that we had covered that they were going to fight each other. So appreciate you with that clarification. Also, Darvin Ham. What's going on with Darvin Ham Jr.? Excuse me. How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in to the show. I ain't got no beef with you because you were junior. Now, if it was your dad, oh Lord, we having problems now. Oh my, we having some issues. We're gonna come to grips. Look, a little bit of NBA humor and beef that I've had with the likes of Darvin Ham, the coach. But as a man, no issue. As a coach, despise it. But I ain't got no beef with you because again, you're the junior. The faults of the father do not fall on the son. But let me see what you got to say. Heard he was looking for a new trainer as well. I hope so. Again, if this is true, I haven't heard if Teo specifically is looking for a new coach. Outright. I have said that he needs to. If he is in fact looking for a different type of coaching mentor, great. Perfect. And not just that, it's a code red that he just got to do it. He's got to do it. It's a code red. We got some problems here. It's a code red. That's what it is right now. You don't understand, y'all. It's a code red. It's a desperate need to have somebody else in your ear telling you what to do. Because if you don't, you're going to fall by the wayside. We covered that yesterday. Well, we did. We're not going to beat a dead horse. But beyond just the coach, when looking at Teo as the makeup of fighter, I do think that this kind of showed there needs to be some different elements added to his game when looking at this boxing acumen. More importantly, the defensive side of his arsenal, because he got picked apart by the excellent jab that was from Shakur Stevenson. And now that doesn't mean that he isn't still great instinctually. It does not mean that he's phenomenal when it comes to being able to be a reactive fighter. We still know, though he got picked apart, that under normal circumstances, yeah, his defense that we've seen when he's on it, normally, it's incredibly hard to be hit. In a good way. It is for real. But now, especially with this new division coming up and with the names that he's going to have to be fighting against, like with Brian Owen Jr., Mario Barrios, shoot, even a Manny Pacquiao, who still is relevant. And per the Transnational Boxing Board, top 5 in this division right now on most rankings. He's at least, either just outside the top 11 or within the top 10. You specifically with that win against, or with that draw that should have been a win against Mario Barrios, you have you got some threats that, though it may seem like you should be still clear cut above everybody except for Devin Haney, hypothetically, you're gonna be tested in some ways that you might get some surprises along the way, and you want to make sure that you secure that you ain't gonna have this happen again. There's a difference in getting beat when you ain't on your game and getting beat when you just couldn't do a thing. There's a difference. This is a different type of concerting effort of, man, there was nothing I could do. Specifically, there was nothing I could stop. And if stuff needs to change, what is it that needs to change? I would say what needs to change is the fact that he's got to change up his defense and get a more fundamentally sound type of guard, in my estimation, and strictly because when we were watching this fight, especially now he's getting up to this type of danger and weight class, what got picked apart the most in this fight? Hands down defense, the head movement that he wasn't able to actually react with in time, as well as that, crazy enough, that cross guard he was at. When he was trying to walk Shakur down, have that cross guard up to where he was blocking his face, it wasn't working. Granted, he kept on, you tried to use that a lot actually in this fight. And it was up to no avail. That's got to be either taken out of his arsenal or finding a way that he's more reliant with it so he can actually do what the cross guards are meant to do, which is allow you to be able to protect your head. Though your chin is vulnerable, your chin should be tucked so you won't be able to eat that shot as it kind of gets wedged in between forearm and chest, as well as do what the Archie Moores and the Ken Nortons and Joe Frazier did. That turns into immediate offense where you can immediately parry and throw stuff off and then go back to having your guard up. Essentially, it's a blended offensive weapon that acts as a literal ramrod. Well, you can then, boom, strike and then seamlessly reprotect. Solid. We see David Benavidez do that in an abundance of ways, phenomenally throughout his career. Recently, when he's been fighting at cruiserweight, or rather at light heavyweight, and at the end of his super middleweight run, that needs to change. It's got to change. At least that's the one thing I would do. And more importantly, maybe offensively, maybe need to be a new regime in the style of attack that he went to go through. Because I dare say in this fight with Shakur Stevenson, he turned into a little bit of predictability. He turned a little bit into predictable. A little bit. Now he had some success in round 8. Started being able to go jab upstairs and then throwing a hard straight down to the body and chest of Shakur. That was working. He finally had an answer for the almost impregnable defense that was Shakur Stevenson, but too little too late, as well as when that got too rudimentary, when that got too predictable, when that got too much consistency in repetition, that got shut down. So it has some people questioning, is the offensive variety of Teo really as copious as we're saying it was earlier on? Now, again, I do believe it is. But now this just shows with Shakur, there just had, one, he's that great of a defensive fighter. And two, there just has to be I think a different structure, what we kind of a different coding per se, a different branching tree of actions that he needs to be able to go and retool with in order to make his offense truly hard to predict as well as incredibly destructive nonetheless. Those are just some of the change. Now, I will still let you hear your thoughts on what you feel would need to be the case, but there is a call for change with Teo. Not just physically. This will be the last point before we move on to Boots Ennis. The mental side as well. This, I think, is the first. He's dealt with struggle. He's dealt with ridicule. He's dealt with this, that, and the third when it comes to his career and being called everything under the sun. Some things rightfully so he deserved. Other things were just people hating. But everything of the nature of beratement, he's dealt with. But in this situation, this is a little bit different because now this is the type of loss where you kind of just had to sit with. And that's usually, if you've heard Teo post this fight, how he was talking in interviews, how he was going through and discussing his, more or less discussing his real struggle with what he's dealt with as a fighter, as a laden weapon of destruction that has come up short before. This time it's a little bit different. I can't get a fair shake. Man, I ain't sell my soul, so now I'm struggling with all this stuff. And life just ain't fair. It sounds almost depressive. And hopefully that ain't the case, because Lord knows we don't want him going down that road. But this type of loss will do that to you in a degree that you just got to sit with it. Mentally, after this type of dominant performance, can you mentally recover? Can you do that? We saw it with Tim Tszyu when he got struck down like lightning by Bacron. Now we're asking, can he recover? Yes, he won a fight back since then, but it was started by, or that whole ending thing was started by the dominating performance when he got beat by Sebastian Fundora. I believe so. No, it was got beat by Tim Tszyu. No, Fundora beat Tim Tszyu. Then afterwards, was it Bacron that he fought first? Whatever the timeline went, between those three fights, he went through and struggled mightily. He did. Mentally, still tapping that cut. Blockades of confidence. Anthony Joshua, blockades of confidence. He got to him. Teo, we've seen it get to him even before Shakur, like with Sandro Martin. It got to him. This stuff can get to him easily, especially this point. Good gosh, especially this one. Or rather, especially this loss. It can get to him horribly. It can get to him. The question really becomes, mentally, regardless of all the things physically that we can say you can change, mentally, are you able to still turn yourself around and pick yourself up? That's the biggest question. And I'm saying this right now. If your dad's in your corner, I dare say it might not be the case. So it might be everything comes down to, regardless of what styles need to be taken abound to go and change yourself. The most important thing might be, hey buddy, can you get people behind you that can keep you stable amongst what has already been seen as a struggling venture when you deal with this type of pain in feet, even when pseudo defeat. Now you gotta sit with it and make something happen of it. If you can, great. But if you can't, that's going to be the biggest thing to fix. I hope he can, but my gosh, man, it's a concern. What's next for him? We can talk about the fights. We can talk about him fighting against Devin Haney. We can talk about a potential fight with him and Brian Norman Jr. Hey, I wouldn't be mad to see that fight. Bringing it in terms of official matchup, I wouldn't be mad to see Teo versus Brian Norman Jr. You get that shot and the potential you can go and earn a position to fight Devin Haney. I wouldn't be mad at seeing Teo fighting Manny Pacquiao. Legend against an up-and-coming fighter who's still going at you. His division, we still see Manny Pacquiao as a very viable threat. Not necessarily he's the top of the top, but at this point in time, still he's still competing at a championship level, genuinely. Shoot, I dare say, if let's be perfectly honest, Barrios, Ryan Garcia, winner of that, fights Teo. If they don't fight Devin Haney, more specifically if Ryan Garcia beats Mario Barrios, and that fight with Devin Haney does not happen next at 154. I'm all for seeing a war between Teofimo Lopez and Ryan Garcia. I wouldn't be mad. I love that. I would love that. Again, we've discussed the internal makings of what's next for him. Now the external stuff. I would love to see a Teo versus Ryan Garcia. Two people that have dealt with the same type of stuff, same type of struggles, similar issues of we just can't catch a break in their eyes, and now you're there to go and make things happen. And you're there to go to make things great, and you are there to truly essentially set your feet on solid ground again. And a match that would have everybody excited. I mean, really excited. Both of them going to be taking chances. Ryan Garcia got the power to do more damage than Shakur Stevenson and be aggressive in a way that Shakur just wasn't. Yes, he's probably going to clip a lot, but he's going to be able to give it back in abundance. Especially if what we see as him training with David Benavidez as a real notion of the latent ability that may be unlocked finally from the greatness that is Ryan Garcia, at least a perceived greatness that we know Ryan Garcia is capable of reaching with this talent. That would be a war. I would love to see that war. I would love to see that, dude. I would love to see that war. That would be incredible. That would be fun. I would love to see that. Love to see that as a next opportunity for him. Because he still is in position that he can still get big time fights. He can still get big time affairs. Now I would love, now again, like I would say, take 1 or 2 fights at a lower level, see how you fare at this division, and then go after the big boy just to get accustomed and tuned in to this new weight class, this new body. Though we think you should be fine, still precaution. That's what I always say. But if not, if you're gonna jump into the deep end, if we don't get Ryan versus Devin after Barrios, depending on if Ryan wins. You couldn't tell me that Ryan versus Lopez would not be an insane fight as well as a build-up that would be one of the best in this year. It would. I'd be down for it, absolutely. I would love to see that. I would love to. And hopefully we'll see how it goes from here. But now we delve into the world of Boots Ennis. Yes, indeed. Also, please be sure to leave a like on the stream. Keep on commenting your thoughts and opinions. We still want to hear from you in regarding everything involving the world of boxing and beyond. Your thoughts, your opinions, your voice, your essentially anything. Or what, again, if you want to talk about the NBA trade deadline that happened yesterday, if you want to talk about the NFL and the Super Bowl, if you want to talk about stuff with Usyk and his next opposition, shoot, I dare say, if you even want to talk about Fabio Wardley, who potentially he's got a big fight going on. I forget who. Fabio Wardley got announced he's about to fight somebody. Derek Chisora said he was doing. I can't remember who it was. But if you want to talk about that in the heavyweight division, if you want to double them all with Deontay Wilder against Chisora as a skill fighter. We talked about the mind of Deontay Wilder yesterday. If you want to delve into the straight up, who is a better boxer at this point in time with Wilder and Chisora, and can Wilder actually pull the trigger? We can talk about that as well. We want to hear from you in every facet of this landscape of sports. And I'm excited to see how in the world you all feel on everything. And your thoughts and opinions, and we just chopping it up with you, So please, keep on commenting, keep on chatting, keep on sharing the show, keep on liking the stream, and keep on subscribing. Come on and join the Empire. Come on and give arms and give your support to the Empire, and have yourself be a part of the hottest show in all of the globe right here on YouTube and on every podcasting platform imaginable. Yes, indeed. So we can't wait to hear from you, but we still got more to discuss on this show. Excuse me, I'm just trying to make sure I got everything on this stream correct. Okay, there we go. But now we delve into the world of Boots Ennis. That's right, Jerron Boots Ennis, one of the biggest stars in the world, one of the more prevalent essentially behemoths that we have in boxing right now. Everybody is excited to see what he can go through and accommodate and accumulate with. And we've had some now new news involving the world of Ennis as we now see, let me see if I can pull it up right now, we now see another cryptic insemination, or rather another cryptic, what's the word? a hint, essentially. Not a cryptic hint. That's what I was looking for. I don't know why that was so hard for you to think of. But another cryptic hint that we will get Boots versus Virgil Ortiz. Now, we're not trying to beat a dead horse. We understand we are not trying just to go and keep on baiting people and saying, oh, yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to transpire. They're going to go and get it going. But we will have this from Virgil Ortiz's promoter yet again, as we can put it up on the old picture-in-picture big screen for you all to witness and see as we transition over into the world of social media with Boots Ennis, with Virgil Ortiz and his manager essentially putting out a post on Twitter or on his Instagram, rather, they got shared on Twitter that says never give up. Hashtag boxing picture of Boots Ennis and Virgil Ortiz. This one saves the sport. Ortiz in 7 yet again going in and inciting a lot of speculation that maybe they are indeed still working to make this fight behind the scenes a actual reality. Now, granted, understand they're still in litigation at this point in time, suing the likes of Oscar De La Hoya and Golden Boy Promotions, of which this fighter is signed with, in order to get out of their contract because they feel that Oscar De La Hoya is holding them up from making funds with this fight with Boots Ennis, and they breached their contract because of their expiring deal with DAZN that was not re-signed. Yes, indeed, that's the truth of the matter. That's the whole kit and caboodle when it comes to this current landscape of boxing with these people, rather with these fighters. But that's what's on the docket. Now, that's just the immediate news of a conversation. In the aftermath, or rather the bigger picture with this when it comes to Boots Ennis is, doggone it, y'all couldn't even see it. Hold on a minute. Wait a minute. Y'all didn't even see the thing. Hold on a minute. I didn't even show the, hold on, wait, okay, there we go. Okay, boom. Can you see it now? There we go. This is the thing. This is the picture. Y'all couldn't see it before. I do apologize. I didn't have it up there. There we go. Never give up on boxing from Virgil's promoter. This one says the sport. Ortiz in 7, essentially insinuating Boots and Virgil. They are indeed still going to make that fight happen. If that is the case, whoop-de-doo, we'd love to see it. If not, well, there's still more on the table with this fight, with this career, in terms of Boots. It's more specifically at 154 right now, like we have with a potential, not even potential, with a championship, a unified champion, now officially being crowned in Xander Zayas, if you forgot. Oh my, don't forget about that. Xander Zayas beating the boss and getting the unified belts in the division again. He still is, I think, was the youngest champion in boxing before Abdul Mason, and now still has even further cemented his early star power by getting 2 of the 4 belts at 154 pounds. Now that that is the case, well, this goes back to the conversation that we had earlier in the year, or rather earlier last year, involving the trajectory of Boots Ennis in his own future. More specifically, can the likes of Boots Ennis come through and let the division start to accumulate belts and then go and take them all out? That's one of the things that's one of the reasons why we weren't seeing, or that's one of the reasons why we speculated we aren't seeing Boots just immediately go after titles, at least in the way that we want to, strictly because Boots Ennis may be waiting for somebody to get unified and then boom, go from that run on, taking championships, taking titles, and looking to become undisputed at 154, then transitioning over into 160, then transitioning into 168 as per the tweet that he put out a couple of years ago involving his own plans in the boxing zeitgeist to go and be great in this world, or in this generation of the sport. And that's what we were reading. That's what we read, rather. That's what we all hope was the case, and what looks to be the case right now. And if he doesn't get that fight with Virgil Ortiz, now Xander Zayas may just be the most prominent name that we can see Boots fight against. Truly it is. Truly it is. And it seemed like a fight that would make sense to me. And it seems easy, does it not? It seems like a fight that would make everybody all excited to witness the crowning moment of Boots Ennis finally reaching the not just championship aspirations. As again, he's already a unified champion at 147, but in terms of at this stage in time, with the amount of buzz surrounding this division, especially with Fundora and Thurman fighting against each other, especially with now Boots making a splash with his fight scene, with all the noise around this fight, even with Virgil Ortiz, there's a spotlight on the brother. And if he can go and take advantage of it and fight against Xander Zayas and take the belt, well, then that's even better for him and puts everybody on notice. Okay, this is the real deal. Money cometh, as they say, and that's what will happen to him on a big time way. But even more than that, we're looking at Boots Ennis and saying, well, this is a fight that would make it easy. If there was anything to get you in a position to get the fights that you do want at this division, like with Roberto Ortiz, well, go and beat Zayas. And most likely, while we respect Zayas, as I mentioned, I'm a fan of Zayas. We talked about him on this channel before. His last performance kind of had a little bit shaking a little bit. Not the one with the boss, but the one with before boss. But even still, we were looking at Zayas. With all due respect, he's not better than Boots Ennis. He's not. He may be taller, sure. He may have physical gifts, absolutely. He's not better than Xander Zayas. He's not. He's not better than Boots. Is not better than Xander Zayas. No way. In no way, shape, or form. Boots would, in my opinion, mop the floor with Xander Zayas as a fighter. And this is me being a fan of Zayas. He's mopped the floor with. He would destroy. He would take him out of here. It would be easy work. Light work, baby. Would be the moniker surrounding the likes of this fight, if that was to happen. But it makes sense because that's the easiest road to get into a championship right now and getting the position of you are the man to beat in this division. Yes, you're not undisputed, but with you having 2 of the 4 belts and you beating Zayas with your already established talent and reputation in the world of boxing, everybody would see you as the end-all, be-all. Everything runs through him, similar to how we have with Devin Haney becoming a unified champion. And there's not a question in anybody's mind as to who runs that division. It is his division or bust. Everybody falls to the feet of Devin Haney at 147. Same thing could happen to Boots Ennis at 154. And if that does transpire, well, that's so great. That's so grand. Everybody would appreciate it. And even more than that, everybody would be able to look you in the face and say, all right, if you want smoke, he is the smoke. And I would hope, I dare say, if I'm being completely honest, I dare say, you go on, forget the talks with Virgil Ortiz at this point in time. Because they've been stalling for so long, we don't know whether or not they're actually close or not. I'm not going to speculate like that's the case or not. You go through and you fight and go on and challenge Zayas for the belts. Take him out. Go on and do it. Get him out the way. If you believe that you can already beat him. And you bring those belts into the Virgil Ortiz fight. Just bring him in there. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. If you don't do that, then again, sure, you got Bochuk. Yeah, you can fight against him. He also, Bochuk was just on, I think he was just on the Boxing Voice, I believe. Getting some names out there. Shoot, I dare say you can even fight Josh Kelly if you were Boots Ennis. I mean, shoot, go ahead. Why not? Why not? Why would you not? Why would you not fight Josh Kelly right now? Why would you not fight Josh Kelly right now? With them beating Buckman, beating what was seen as one of the biggest and most dangerous boogeymen in all of 154, truly was a menace and a monster who just got outboxed by Josh Kelly, even though that fight got relatively close later on in the fight when Josh Kelly got hurt and Buckman started landing some power. But if Josh Kelly can put him down, even if it's a shot that just caught him off balance, but you can put him out of there. You can get him out of there easy. And you can definitely, you saw how bad Josh Kelly got hurt against Buckman, but you can end that fight in 5 or less. You can end it. This is with respect to Josh Kelly being Buckman. That was a great win. That was a good upset. That was a great upset when everybody all of a sudden looked at him and said, wow, I did not expect that. I was wrong. I'll be clear, I was wrong. I thought that Josh Kelly was going to get walked through. I thought he was going to get walked through by the likes of Buckman. I did not think his people were going to be able to help him to stay away from the accumulated rounds of damage that Buckman would incur. Not just with a one-punch KO, but straight up get broken down and then put out of it. That's what I thought was going to happen. Lord knows I was dead wrong. I was dead wrong. All the over a year and a half off that we saw Bakram take from his fight when he won the title really didn't really help. Didn't really change him. He needs, speaking of some changes, he needs to get a little bit better with his own offensive style to be able to be more dynamic, to be able to land those stunning shots that can go and end opponents, and dealing with movers. But again, that's another conversation. Regardless of which, point still stands. Josh Kelly is right there to go through and make a fight happen. And in fact, Josh Kelly has something to say involving this whole proclamation that we would like that potential boots in its fight could take place. Let me see if I can find a clip. I can go and bring it up for you right here, right now, for you to be able to listen and see what exactly Kelly had to say. Where is it? Here we go. Yep, here we go. Yep, let me let you all listen to this clip so you can see exactly what we're talking about when it comes to Josh Kelly, who is the current 154-pound champion, walking through what the issue is as to why, if him and Boots was on the table, it ain't there no more, at least in the vein of you calling the shots. But I'll let Josh Kelly tell you for himself.
When, let's be honest, everybody hoped that Josh would win, but nobody truly believed he was going to win. Yeah. And not only has he won with class. Yeah. He won with class in an amazing event, and the feedback and the backlash from Saturday night has been incredible. Yeah. And it's probably been more than any of us could have hoped for. And this is a business and it's a sport, so it's time for sort of everyone to stop, look at what the best thing for everyone is. And we signed that contract at a time when, let's be honest, everybody hoped that Josh would win.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. I was trying to figure. I was trying to make sure that this was the right clip. I got a little bit concerned, so they kind of cut off the asked question. What led into this type of response? But essentially, this was in response to the question about when Josh Kelly had signed with Boots Ennis to fight, and Boots didn't fight him, and not because he was ducking, more so because I believe this is when he said at 154 or 147. I believe if I'm wrong, please excuse me. But either way, some situation where they were in a position where they could have fought each other. Boots didn't fight him. Now he won a belt. Nobody thought he was going to win a belt, and now he is saying, essentially alluding to, we're going to call our own shots and we're going to make what we need to do the best for what we need to do. Straight up. You don't dictate the pace. Anybody in the boxing world, when compared to us, don't dictate the pace of how we're going to go and make the best business decision for our thing. Now, some people may say, Josh Kelly is ducking. He doesn't want to fight Boots Ennis. And you can even check the comments of that very video. Everybody's saying the same thing about, Boots is ducking. Or rather, Kelly's ducking. Kelly don't want that smoke. Kelly's scared. Everybody's scared of the big man Boots walking on stage that was going to put Boots to butt against everybody in the division. That's what the rhetoric around the comments are. But, I mean, in all actuality, he's got some level of leverage because, yes, he just did beat the biggest what's preceded one of the biggest punches in the division. You earn the right to have some level of pull, absolutely. But I would not go through, if I'm Josh Kelly, unless you can go and put yourself in a position to where you can fight some of the other weaker guys here, which there ain't many of them because 154 is a very laden, strong division. If you try to go and give Madrimov a shot, you can lose to Madrimov. If you try to give Boachuk a shot, you can lose to Boachuk. John Adams. Is it John Adams? I think it's John Adams who beat Boachuk 2 times in a row. You give him a shot, you could get beat by him. There's really no safe option here. So if y'all signed against Boots initially, I would advise you to take that back now because now you can get more money, demand more money, and be in the ring with a bigger star. You already slayed one giant, but if you slayed 2, all of a sudden everybody's looking at you in a whole new light. In a whole new light if you do that. A completely new light if you indeed take that and put it to heart, absolutely. But let me no, that ain't what I'm trying to click. But let me read what you all got to say. We got some new people in the chat, like Guitar Man. What's going on? Hey, brother, what's going on? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning in to the World Tour with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. Hopefully you're tuning in and you left a like on the video. And let me see what you got to say, as we love the thoughts and opinions of the globe. This is still the championship rounds, where you all control the whole flow of this show with your comments, with your reactions, with your thoughts on anything involving the world of sports, NBA, NFL, boxing, and beyond. If I can talk about it, I can be about it, and we can discuss it with you. Special episode that we do every single Friday to let you have your voice be heard for the entirety of this show. But let me see what you got to say right here, right now. Let me see. Boots have managed to get the titles without beating actual champions. Even Ennis, who was current champ, got his title as well as Boots through elevation. He's the biggest hype in boxing. See, now. Well, let me read the rest of the chat real quick before I give a response. Boots is yet to face in the Summer League guy who would beat the paper champ as it was with Norman, who was beaten by Haney. As for now, Boots is all hype. Shout out to Eddie. He does his job promotion well. Okay, let's break this dissection let's break down this conversation dissection by dissection. Eddie Hearn has done a great job promoting. He has put Boots in a position to be talked about on a global scale. That again, I feel as an exciting fighter, he should be talked about. That's no issue there. Phenomenal. He is working to build up the hype. Now, on the pushback, however, I feel that Boots is worth the hype, my opinion.
Hey, look at this.
I do. I do.
We got some problems here.
Now, on this channel, I'm telling you, I'm being straight up, I have never downed somebody for being elevated to a championship, because that's something that somewhat is out of their control when it comes to, you would want to fight for a belt. Most of the fighters do want to fight for titles, but sometimes, as we know, what the biggest business of boxing, stuff just doesn't transpire. I mean, we saw David Benavidez get elevated to light heavyweight champion when he didn't get his chance to fight Bivol when he was mandatory. He didn't get a chance to fight Canelo for 3 years. And if he had stayed at 168 when Crawford retired, he would have been elevated to champion again. Tank Davis got elevated by the WBA to have the belt when who was it that left? When Devin Haney left the division to go at 140. When he was undisputed. I don't hold it against them if you are a champion by elevation, because that's not really something you can control in their vein. And most of them, they would want to get it in the ring. So that doesn't hold an attraction to me. Now, Stanionis, as a fighter, we on this channel were saying that was the best win of Boots' career. And it was a legitimate good fighter that was a legit champion that had some real pop and had power that would have given, if anybody was going to test the chin at 147 of a Boots Ennis, he was one of those guys that could put Boots, who was especially vulnerable to relying on his instincts first and foremost, as a means to get him out of Dodge. And he was getting tagged by Avanesian. He was getting tagged by Sugarjohn in 2 separate fights. And he had been relying on that chin to be able to say, I can take it and just walk through you, which he was able to. But even still, if you didn't show up that defense against Stanionis, you could have been put in a bad light. Now, Boots did that, and Boots beat Stanionis in 6 rounds and dominated him like we thought he could at his best. But that does not take away from the fact that that's a good win. That is a good one. That, for me, validated how quality Boots is as a fighter. Now, yes, he's not a Virgil Ortiz. We understand. He's not a Devin Haney. He's not a Shakur Stevenson from that sect of talent, but he is good. He was quality, and he was outright the best that he had faced in his entire career up until this point. If you want to argue Sugarjohn was better from a standpoint of skills or technical perspective, I have no issue. But still, he wanted the best at minimum. And so, with him being proven, I think he has proved that he deserves, I think he has proven that he deserves his respect. Now, you can say that he shouldn't be top 5, top 2, top 1 in the world, or remotely close to the top 10. I'm with you there. He shouldn't be, but the prospect of potential is laden in what we see you can achieve when you elevate up to the world of the elites who are truly elite. We were saying that with Shakur Stevenson as well. Now, Shakur was already seen as a top 10 fighter. Now, granted, he wasn't elevated as champion, but he had beaten Oscar Valdez, good fighter, Jamal Herring, good fighter at that point in time, Yoshino, who was undefeated, Artur Artunian, who took Frank Martin to the limit and almost beat him. If he didn't get knocked down with a body shot, he was doing great. But it wasn't that he had never faced off against that type of elite talent in Teo up until he did. And then when he beat him, okay, boom, that's the icing on the cake. Or rather, that is the final layer on the cake to fully validate, okay, yeah, he's the real deal. But we didn't not buy into the hype because he never faced somebody like a Teo. To say that Boots, in my opinion, to say that Boots is all hype strictly because he hasn't faced somebody of the top 10 caliber. When we watched him at the division he was at, he was able to beat one of the 3 best guys there in a dominant fashion that wasn't even close. Though it's not that top 10, top 15 all boxing world talent, I think that does deserve some respect of, okay, this guy's something different. And he's showing, like the way he's beating them is in the way that most other good boxers, even great boxers, would have struggled against some of these same people. It's a difference when we say that he has a Roy Jones Jr.-esque type of air about him. We're not comparing the skill set, or at least me, I'm not comparing the skill set. Because I don't know about everybody. I'm not comparing the skill set. Good gosh, Lord, no. But I'm comparing the separation of abilities that is observed and delivered by Boots in a way that shows a distinct difference, not just in the way that he fights, but in the capability that he can fight amongst anybody else in his immediate vicinity. You can see it. You can see it with Teo. That same thing about the elite athleticism, he's throwing stuff, and it's like, my God, this cat, he's a monster. That it factor per se, it's there. You see it on people. You can say that it's not proven as much as you would like, but you can see it. With Boots, you can see it. And with Stanionis, for the level that Boots was elevating up to, he passed that test with flying colors. Now he's here where he should be pushed to the limit, or at least to a limit that can answer the same question that people had with Shakur Stevenson. You at a point now we see you finally across the ring against somebody, or at least 2 people, because this 154 is a heavy division. You'll cross the ring with 2 or 3 people that legit are you're gonna need to be better than what you were against the good competition that you faced off against, that you dominated. If you are what we say that you are, you can do what you can do, and you can handle what you can handle and beat them. If you aren't, we're going to find out. But at this point in time, the buy-in hype is worth it, up until proven otherwise, based on what we've been given. And so that's why I don't want people saying that Boots is a hype job, because I think he's legit. I do want people making sure that he keeps his word, that if he's going to move up and do what he said he was going to do, he does it. We even said multiple times before, hey, buddy, you're wasting time. We said you were wasting time when you were going back down to 147, when you stayed there, when you said you wanted to tune up, when you moved up, when you said after Shukajan 2, I can't fight at 147 anymore. My body can't take it. I got to move up. I got to get out of here to be the best that I can be. And another fight that was you won it handily, but it was a lot more of a struggle. And you were like, man, I can't take this. I got to move up. I can't handle this no more. And then you chose to stay back down to go fight Stanionis, which again, you went after a title, so I'm not mad at it. But you said what you wanted to do, and then you backtracked after saying you needed to do the very thing that was what we wanted you to do. So we were like, hey, buddy, you wasting time. And in the tune-up talk, you wanted a tune-up fight at 154. I was fine with that. Then you said you wanted 2. I was not fine with it. Then I heard somebody say you wanted 3. And I was like, wait a minute now, brother, what the world? What are you wasting time for? when we know where you should be the second you step into this division, barring one fight as a tune-up. Then inevitably he beat was it Lima? Beat Lima in less than 2 minutes, minute 58 seconds, I believe to be specific, knocked him out, got the job done, and now he's operating like we want him to operate. My issue with Boots, as I think others should have issue with, or at least a concern with, isn't the skill set. It is the word is bond of where Boots said he wanted to go and what he wanted to achieve. If he keeps on the track that he said, he could easily be a top 5 fighter. He could easily be a top 5 fighter. It's his own somewhat hesitation. Not now, but in the past. It was his own hesitations that were holding him back from getting to, okay, we can get you in the ring with Virgil Ortiz. We can get you in the ring with some of those big names. Fundora, Boachuk, Israel Madrimov, even, who's got a name at 150. But we can expedite that process to answer that question. Are you worth the hype or not? Because we can see you competing with all of them. You just were wasting time. Now he's not, thankfully, and it's the other side of the coin, more so Oscar De La Hoya, that's messing everything up. But still, he is in a position to prove his validation of hype. But don't call him a hype job. More so, hold on to the hype, but don't fully let the hype consume you up until he faces off against a Virgil Ortiz. So don't detract from him, but also say there is a test that I need to see to have no doubt as to what he is. At least that's how I'm looking at Boots. I buy into him absolutely. But I'm not going to act like there ain't somebody that can take him out if he ain't careful and if he is indeed ain't what we think he is. Couple people. So just food for thought. If we don't change it, no problem. But hype job maybe is too harsh. I would say hype that hasn't been pushed to the brink is a better situation. Because I think he's worth the hype. We just haven't gotten a Teofimo Lopez for Boots Ennis, like we just got for Shakur. Once we get that, and whether it's Virgil Ortiz, Fundora, or whoever, we're going to have our answer as to you real or you not. So we're going to find out, but I can't wait to see it. Absolutely. Also, we can people in chat. I like, man, I put like, you like the video. Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm so glad that you like the stream. I'm so glad you like, the answer and this show as a whole. Hopefully, I'm just doing the best I can, and I think I'm trying to give you all the best show possible. But keep on liking the stream, keep on sharing the show. We talk about more than just boxing, but that's why especially today, we want to hear you all on everything. But hey, we want your questions and comments and all of your debates and just outright opinions on stream to see what you got to say. We love the interaction. Y'all make this show what it is, and we can't do this without you. We can't do it without you. So we appreciate you all so much, and keep on telling people about the hottest show in all the globe, The Welch Report, with me, your host. Oh, that's the wrong button. There we go. The Welch Report with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. Let me see what you all got to say. Guitar man, keep going. Hey man, I'm gonna keep on doing what I do, and I'm glad you're along for the ride with us. And hopefully you subscribe if you like this show all the more, so you can be a part of this empire. Be a part of this conglomerate. Be a soldier in this ever-growing army. That is the Welch Report, and we appreciate you tuning in. But let me see, Legendary Super Saiyan, buddy, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for coming back on the show. Legendary Super Saiyan. Hey, buddy, we had Freezer here yesterday. Where was your butt to defend this chat? Look, brother. Look, hey, brother. What you at? You got what you do, son? Did you forget to take your heart pills like Goku? Because, brother, we had Freezer coming in here demanding me that I gotta go get these Dragon Balls. Go watch chat. He came in here first thing up. I was fearful for my life. I can take it to him. I can hold my own, but I needed you, and you were nowhere to be found. I tell you what, some savior of the earth you are, buddy. No wonder your planet died, because y'all just a bunch of bums defending y'all people. My goodness, I hope Boo don't come up here. Lord knows, you just gonna be tuck and telling what. I'm joking. I'm sorry. Let me check up here. I'm just being funny. Oh boy, I say, see, that's why I love this cast of characters. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. Let me keep on reading what you all gotta say on today, legendary. So I can I can keep on. I'm sorry, I'm cracking myself up. Let's get back to the show and let's see what y'all got to say. They need to quit being idiots and have Ortiz versus Ennis scheduled. But again, it's once they get out of the contract, it's going down. I do believe it's going down. It's just Oscar and this lawsuit holding it up. But if it doesn't happen, well, then you got Josh Kelly. Go on and take him out. You got, I dare say, go on and take out Zayas. And I love Zayas. Take him out. I'm not advocating going for the easiest route, but at this point in time, you need some leverage to get the stuff that you want. Go after the people that got some leverage that you would still be able to beat up. They got belts. You ain't ducking smoke, but they there, and you want to become undisputed. This is the way to do it. It's the way to do it. If you can't get boots, strictly go after a title and just make it happen. Also, Boxing Pro, how you doing? Good to see you. Thank you so much for tuning into our stream on today. We appreciate all the love and support. No question about it. Let me see. Boxing Nerd, welcome back, brother. Thank you for tuning in. So happy that you're here. Appreciate you tuning in on our show. All right, we got a lot of people here. We appreciate it all so much. Keep on liking the stream, and we want to see what you all have to say. Boots would whoop Buckram and Kelly. Buckram was no good. I told everybody he was straight. Yeah, he shocked me. I'm not gonna lie. He shocked me. He struggles with the movers, and now granted, he started. Once he landed the shot that hurt him. I think it was rounds like 10 or 11. Okay, that might have changed the complexion of the fight. He had Kelly damaged pretty severely. I'm not gonna lie. When he caught him and knocked him down, Kelly was hurt bad. He was. It's and it's not the fact, again, Buckram could be an even better aggressive fighter if he had good feet. He doesn't need fast feet, but he doesn't have good feet when it comes to walking you down and tracking you. It's a struggle. He's still so dangerous. My gosh, man, that is a glaring hole. But now and I thought he was going to be better with a year-long layoff of you got time to make yourself added on to the destructive power that we know you have. And he does have it. But he didn't. And you were right. You were right. Now, again, I don't think he's trash, but I do think that the perceived skill has diminished and deservedly so with how he got beat by what should have been a fight that, not going to say was a gimme, but firmly in the favor of Buckram that should have been able to take this. Please got gas prices way up. Hey, but hey, look, he that cat is drying me out trying to go through with his hold on this universe. Let me see. Kelly the Dancer, and I think Boxing Pro, you might have said this. I can't remember if it was you or somebody else that said it. But Kelly's a mover. Kelly is a very outboxing dancer from the perspective of he doesn't off balance, speedy shots with his jab, with his straight, can throw some hooks as well. And he gave Buckram a whole bunch of trouble trying to track him down. And he earned the win. Be clear, he did earn the win, but he just got to the butt. Buckram is at fault because he should have been better. He could have been better. He should have been able to take him out. He should have. I'm being dead serious. He should have been able to take him out. But Josh Kelly surprised us all. So if I'm Boots, again, going back to the Boots conversation, if I'm Boots, I'm taking out Josh Kelly. Straight up. I'm calling him out. If this thing falls through yet again, I'm already putting in a ploy. If I can't get Virgil, give me the shot. You signed on to it. Now you got the titles. If I ignored you before, so be it. I'm not ignoring you now. And if you think you're really better than me, you can weigh all your options. You won't get more money than me. You can weigh all your options. You won't have a bigger stage than against me. You can weigh all your options. You won't have a bigger opportunity to elevate up in the world of sports unless you fight me. Straight up. And so I'm everything that you want and everything you don't want at the same time. on the biggest risk and the biggest reward. I'm worth every type of concern because of what can be for your life if you win. Even if you lose, I'm still worth it because you're going to make bank. Going to make more money than anybody else in this division in a fight with me, with the type of marketed star I am. Goad them into it. Make them make a choice. If I'm booting, let me see. Bakram versus Kelly and Teo versus Shakur. Shoes at Bakram versus Kelly and Teo versus Shakur. Shoes that have a jab that you can work off of. Key is, or work off of is key to have a detriment or deterrent if you don't have. I think I read it correctly. I think what you're saying. Bakram versus Kelly was like Teo and Shakur. Using that jab to keep the power puncher off of you. As a deterrent to keep that distance is a beautiful thing. We'll get the phrase has always been, he who rules the left rules the world. Or more specifically, he who rules the jab rules the world. Your ability to win a fight with one singular punch is not a boring type of affair. It can be exciting, but more importantly, it is the control that doesn't let go when you have it mastered. That's what it is. Why do you think Larry Holmes was one of the greatest, not just heavyweights in history, but boxers outright, was vaunted as the greatest jab we've ever seen, on par with Muhammad Ali, on par with Sonny Liston, on par with some of the greatest punches, Ricardo Lopez. Is it Ricardo Lopez or Ricardo Martinez? Is it Ricardo Lopez or Martinez? Hold on. Let me make sure I got my history right. Hold on. Wait a minute. Yeah, Ricardo Lopez. I had to make sure I had my technicians correct when it came to making sure when I'm referencing people the history's right. But the jab is everything. See, people, how do we say this? There are not as many people today that understand the true Swiss Army knife uses that a jab can be. Truly. And those who do have somewhat lost the way. Charlo, for example, has a beautiful jab. He's got one of the best jabs in the business. But sadly, we haven't seen him in the ring for a mighty long time. Crawford had a great jab at the setup and had a straight-up weapon. Gennady Golovkin had a strong, stiff jab that could go and knock your head back as well as be a good countering tool. Shakur Stevenson, we see now, beautiful in all facets of timing, speed, and essentially hitting you before you can even, not just react, but before you can even get a punch off. Because he's that perceptive. Anyway, he's got a blazing jab downstairs and upstairs with sharpness, with tact, everything. You can do so much with just the jab alone, but a lot of people only use the jab in one way. We're throwing it just trying to score. We're throwing it just to keep distance. We're throwing it just to do one thing or another. When in fact, the multi-layers are being lost strictly because the way that you think about it is only in a certain vein. The jab is only used as a skill for one specific moniker rather than the wide breadth of possibility. Once you master and unlock that, everything else becomes not just so much easier, but the pathways, the branching actions become even more fluid. And your defense even gets better. Why? Because you now understand in every situation, when can I get this shot off? And when can I go through and control you? And when can I actually stun you? Stop you. Stifle you. Punch in between punches. Have the capacity to frame you off. There's so many different weapons. And it's a beautiful thing when people actually recognize it. And that's what makes Shakur so great. Shoot, David Benavidez right now has a wonderful jab. He does. I think people disregard the technical aspects of David Benavidez because they only are amazed by the speed, which you should be. But his technique in all facets of boxing has elevated himself to being deserved as one of the best fighters in the world. In the world. This fight with Zurdo Ramirez ain't just because it's a exciting affair because, oh, he can go and make something happen. Buddy, his jab, coupled with everything else that he understands about boxing as a whole, it's so much more elevated than most of the people right now in not just the cruiserweight world, not just the light heavyweight world, but in the world of boxing as we know it today. I'm dead serious. Watch him. Watch him. Watch him since his run. From Boo on, from Caleb Plant to now. Watch how he's evolved his jab and his overall style. It's been beautiful. It's been stunning. Absolutely stunning. Let me see. Power punches take you around the block. Jabs take you around the what? Absolutely. They do. Ricardo Lopez was so cold. Again, he was 51-0-1. He never lost a fight. The ghost jab, as it was called. You couldn't detect it. You couldn't see it. Got so good they put in the Hajime no Ippo. Then you're saying that his arm is here, but you're still landing. How in the world? Because you can't perceive the punch coming. Because there's no shoulder, forget no shoulder rotation. But he didn't even turn his wrist up until the last moment. So it looked like just nothing. It looked like nothing. It was insane. It was ridiculous. Let me see. Zawa Kelly, very good fight. Two style. I think you're right about that as well. And it's just all of it's predicated around the jab. All of it's predicated around the jab. And speaking of which, that actually brings up a very good point. When we're talking about the world of heavyweight, we had talked about that we were going to touch on Fabio Wardley a little bit. He's going to fight. If you didn't know, he's going to fight. He's reportedly from Derek Chisora. He's going to fight Daniel Dubois. If you didn't know, that fight looks like it's actually going to go down for Wardley's titles or IBF title. We can see Wardley and Dubois, two power punchers facing off against each other in what's sure to be an absolute slugfest. But even bigger than that, with Tyson Fury coming back, going up against Makhmudov, we expect him to win against Makhmudov. Do we not? I believe we should. We should. But even with that being the case, this is setting up an opportunity to fight against Anthony Joshua. Now, what we are asking with Fury, what has he lost? And more specifically, in reference to that jab, will his jab falter because his lack of movement is now very much apparent? That lack of footwork that he's now garnered or lost due strictly to time, when his length and his feet were so abundantly above everybody else at that point in time at heavyweight that it made him a literal mountain to climb. With that gone, is this jab going to be able to be as effective as you would think, or as it used to be in the past? Even against the pressure-driven fighter that is Makhmudov, it is a question of, can he keep him at the same distance if you know to keep other boxers at? When he elevates up after this fight, because again, he's looking to still go and face off against other people. Let's say Ajay Caballero, he gets in the ring. Let's say he faces off against even Anthony Joshua now. Let's say even hypothetically goes up against a Fabio Wardley. And they do run ties to get a shot at the championship. What the world is he going to be able to do without his feet being able to carry him when he relies on that jab more so to be everything, or the majority of things, in the makeup of game plan that Fury has? It's a question. It really is a question. It truly is a real question. But let me see what you all got to say even still. Hitchens, very good jab. See, and here's the problem. I don't like Richardson Hitchens, but I respect the ability. I just don't like him. I know his jab is good, but I don't think he's as great as everybody is telling him. I don't think he's as great as he's saying that he is. I don't. He knocked out Kambosos. You should knock out Kambosos. Though he's a warrior, no disrespect. But, like, how do we say this? You should not have Kambosos as the best win in your career, and all of a sudden I can buy into, okay, yeah, this guy is going to be he can beat everybody at 140. Forget that. He's not. If he ever fought Teo, he's not beating Teo. In my estimation, I don't believe. If he fought stinking Gary Antoine Russell, he's not beating Gary Antoine Russell, even with that jab that he's got. He shoulder ain't beating Shakur. Lord knows he ain't beating Shakur. That's a detriment. He even said himself, I'm not fighting. Now, granted, they might have a brotherhood type bond or whatever the case may be. Maybe so, but I promise you this: if he ever did fight him, I may think that Keyshawn Davis will lose to Shakur if they ever fought against each other. I know for a fact Hitchens would get destroyed by anybody that's of some real skill at 140. Let alone Teofimo Lopez getting the seconds of what Shakur just did. Let alone if he fights Keyshawn Davis. Good gosh. Look, he doesn't want that. He doesn't want that. He does not want that. If he ever, I promise you that. He don't want that. I just don't think Hitchens is that good. His jab is great, but I don't think he, as a boxer, is as good or as full-blown dominant as everybody talks about him, at least in my estimation. But again, that's my opinion. Let me see. Who has a better jab in your opinion, Devin or Shakur? That's a hard question. That's a hard question. Von Green, you coming in hot. Thank you for tuning in. We're so happy that you're here. We appreciate you joining in on the show. Who's got a better jab? Whew, shoot. Hold on a minute. Hold on a second. Okay. Devin Haney has a faster jab, in my opinion. Shakur has a better jab than Devin Haney. Devin Haney's jab is faster. And strictly because of his diameters, his frame, it's a more weighty jab. Yes. But Shakur's jab is better. Shakur's jab is better. He's a better jab. Shakur is a better fighter than Devin Haney. Now, Devin Haney is such a great fighter, especially at this as a tactician. Now, the reason why that fight is such a competitive affair as to if we see that transpire, people may not we don't know who's going to win. Because that type of tactical war would be something to behold. But when it comes to working to make that a real reality of, okay, who's the better controlling fighter? It's Shakur. Shakur's jab is it's sharper. It's able to be used in a more variety of situations. Forward, backwards, countering. As an offensive tool. As a setup tool. As a framing tool. As a distance manager. As a deterrent. Even as a feint. He can do it all. Devin Haney's jab is best when he's on the back foot. It's not best if he's going forward. It's not the best if he's trying just to counter you. Though he can use it as a countering weapon. We saw him fight against Brian Norman Jr. And the issue with that jab, I'm not going to say he gets away from it. But if you watch that fight with Brian Norman Jr., I think we covered it yesterday. If we watch that fight with Brian Norman, when he got caught with an actual flush shot after round 6, he went away from using the jab in the same way he was using it in the first 5 rounds. He did. The round 6 and on versus rounds 1 through 5. Rounds 7 and on versus rounds 1 through 6 was a completely different fight because the way Devin Haney was fighting was completely different. Completely different. Because the second he got touched with something, what he was using that jab for immediately switched from controlling, landing, doing damage, looking for openings to now, we're throwing it just to keep you off of me and to clinch up. We're throwing this not to do damage necessarily. We're not throwing this with conviction. We're throwing this strictly to be only a deterrent and then to go, when you get too close, now we're going to clinch you up. We're not going to use it as a counter window to get me out of the corner. We're not going to use it to go and walk my way back towards you to stop your momentum. We're not going to use it as anything like that except for straight up, we are going to be conservative. Shakur, even when he gets caught, he doesn't change his jab to be anything else other than an all-purpose tool. He never wanes. With what we saw against Teo, he doesn't wane when it comes to fighting and changing up the jab. He doesn't wane. Devin Haney wanes. He wanes. If his mindset, I'm not trying to just talk about the mind so much. I'm not. We want the skill and ability, which again does encapsulate with it. But there's a reason why this game is 90% mental. It's not just a fluke of a phrase. We see the shift in game plan and the mental, essentially the mental direction of Devin Haney shift the second he get touched with something that's of anything of note. We see it. We see it. We saw it against Jose Ramirez after Ryan Garcia. We saw it in the second half of the fight with Brian Orman Jr. when he was killing Devin Haney by having that jab as a more all-purpose tool. The second he got touched, it's nothing but, I just need to keep you off me. I just got to keep you off me and then clinch up and hold. I'm not going to use this jab to set up another shot to go and counter. I'm not going to jab my way out of the corner. I'm not going to jab my way to keep you at bay while still scoring and landing with confidence and reach. I'm not going to do that because I got touched and now I just need to survive. I just got to keep my lead. Shakur's not, of right now, with how Shakur is fighting now, he's not fighting just to keep a lead. He's fighting to continue to dominate with control off of that one weapon, a totality of work. That is not what Devin Haney does. And that's why his jab is not better, though you can argue it's quicker and it's more damaging. It is more damaging. He's a big guy and he has the ability to be more powerful than he lets on, even more powerful than if he just unlocked that mentality of, okay, yeah, I'm going to actually throw with conviction more often. He can be a dangerous puncher. He really can. He really can. But it's the fact that he himself is holding his own psyche back. But Shakur, that's not a problem. As of today, that's not a problem. It's not a problem. If he throws, he's going to throw. If you press him, that jab is still coming out in the same controlled, sharp, and deliberate way, regardless of the use, that will still not just sting, but get him wherever he wants to go without recourse, because the solidified mind is not waning with his best weapon. With Devin Haney, it is. The mindset of the game plan when it comes to using your jab is the same thing that is going to make that fight potentially a one-sided affair. Because if we ever get Devin Haney and Shakur getting in the ring with each other, buddy, Shakur's got a better jab strictly by consistency. Strictly by consistency, he's got a better jab. Because when the direction of the fight changes, one way or another, he's not changing how he's going to use his best weapon from the framework of, I know what I got, and not just am I not leaving it, I'm going to use it to the fullest extent in every single applicable scenario to ensure that this thing never becomes null and void and I dominate the fight with it. Devin Haney, he can do that same thing, but the second the fight changes in a way that he's starting to get touched up with something, doesn't like physicality, that still boasts to this day, he will then fight not to dominate. Strictly, he will use that jab just to survive. Jab and clinch, like we saw with Kambosos, like we saw with Brian Orman Jr., like we see multiple times over his career, though the skill set is incredible. When he was fighting against Prograis, You saw how that jab was coming out. You saw the control. You saw the deliberate factor. You saw the different mindset. Shakur's been like that for most of his career. Devin Haney, even recently, when that brother was in control on a big stage as a headliner against a real puncher, and he was putting boot to butt, he still regressed to that previous mindset. And we saw how that jab looked when he was doing it. It wasn't the same. And so Shakur's got a better jab. He does. It's more versatile. It is sharper, though it's not faster. Again, it's on par. But I think Devin Haney's got a faster raw jab. But overall, it's better. It's better. It is better. It's absolutely better. No question about that. It's better. It's better. It's better. It is better. Let me see. Real deal. What's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show with us on today. There's no doubt you're an expert in boxing. Look, I appreciate the kind words. I'm just trying to entertain the masses. We're trying to talk about everything, not just boxing, but beyond as well. We're letting you all control the show. It is still the championship rounds for the entirety of this show. We're going to try to go as long as you all comment, and as long as we going on this show. Unless we get to like 3 hours or something, then we're going to say, hey, we shutting it down. But beyond that, we're going to run it as long as you all want to keep the conversation going. We appreciate the kind words. And please keep on subscribing to the channel. Keep on sharing the show. Keep on letting people know this is the hottest show in all the globe. We want audiences. We want people. We want to keep on growing as a community. We want 100 people in the chat, 500 people, a couple thousand people having their voice a part of the conversation, hashing it out. We want to hear from you absolutely on anything involving the world of sports, boxing, and beyond. All from you and your voice can help make this show so much more edifying. So please keep on supporting the channel. And shameless plug, because I got to do it. If you can support the channel monetarily, we got Cash App and PayPal. Links down below in the description. If you can give to the show, it would mean the world to me, as well as super chats and gifts and whatnot, stickers and all that other stuff. If you can support the channel, if you want to make sure your chat is read, as we always try to read everybody's chat, but you want to ensure that we spend some extra time on whatever you got to say, whatever comment, question, or since just straight up saying hi. You can do it, and you can add some money to it if you so choose, and it would help out this channel so much, as well as help us invest back into this channel to make it better for you, listeners and fans all around the globe, as well as help me pay some bills and put some extra money in my pocket. Absolutely. I'm trying to splurge on this Friday afternoon, so who knows what we can make. See, I'm getting a little bit too high about it. Let me take it straight to business. Give me business. We want to make sure if you can support, would mean the world to me, and it helps us channel out immensely. And we appreciate you just being here. Absolutely, because we can't do this without you. I'm nothing on this show without you being here. So thank you all so much. We're going to keep on reading what you all got to say. Shakur beats Devin on point. Yeah. I'm leaning towards that. I'm leaning towards that sentiment. I'm thinking it. I'm really thinking it. I really do think if they fought against each other, Devin Haney's not beating Shakur on points. He's not. And Devin Haney most likely ain't going to knock him out. He could knock him down, but most likely ain't going to knock him out. And we're going to see Shakur still be able to win that fight. In fact, I think there's actually some can I find it? Is it here? Is it here? Hold on a minute. It's here somewhere. Hold on. Yeah, there we go. We got a little bit of clips of even them having a matchup with each other with Devin Haney and Shakur Stevenson sparring. I'm going to play it right here for you all to witness and see. You got to have great IQ and lots of volume for Shakur, and Devin Haney does not have that. He does not have that. He's got great IQ. The volume ain't going to work. And even with the volume, you got to be you have to be a different offensive monster. You do. Or such a sniper that you are able to match Shakur in accuracy. You got to be like that. If you ain't, you most likely you ain't beating that. But in fact, let me go on and play this clip right now. But earlier, this is sparring of Shakur and nope, that ain't it. Is that it? Wait, hold on a minute. Hold on a second. Whoa. Wait a minute.
We got some problems here.
Hold on now. Let me get this thing correct. There we go. Okay. Got it now. This is some sparring footage of Shakur and Devin Haney. Can't remember what year. But when Shakur and Devin Haney was younger. Sparring with each other in the gym. And I believe this is, I think this is Mayweather's gym. But I'll let you be the judge. This is earlier in their, very early in their careers. But if you want to look at how the jab battle would be or what a fight would look like, this could be the answer. Buddy, son, let me put this on mute. I'm gonna tell you something right now. I'm gonna tell you, in fact, before I'm gonna play, as I'm talking, I'm gonna play it again. But I'm gonna put my camera on this to make sure y'all can see my face. I'm telling you right now. I don't even got the right title screen for it. Don't matter. Don't care. Championship rounds, like that's what we're in. I'm gonna tell you this right now. If you watch that film, mind you, that was a young Shakur going up against Devin Haney, who I think at that point in time was getting more fervently into the pro ranks. I think this is around 135. Buddy, if that round ended that right then and there, Shakur won that round. Straight up. As a boxer, even at that early age, brother, Shakur looked sharper, even more versed in evasion, was countering Devin Haney with straight left hands. Devin Haney got him. Devin Haney got aggressive. He got Shakur to the corner, and he couldn't touch him. Legit couldn't touch him. And Shakur kept on still being, even with that defensive posture, lighting up. I mean, lighting up Devin Haney. If it's not bad for me to say it all, Devin Haney versus Shakur, boxer versus boxer, Shakur's a better fighter outright. I dare say outright. Now, again, that's early sparring footage. They both gotten better since that. And I'll play it while I'm talking, so you can again see for yourself what, or the evidence of what I'm saying. At least early on in their tenure and career, but even early in their tenure, up to the evolution that we've seen both of them be right now, it is not out the realm for me to say that I feel that Devin Haney is clear, far and away, not this great, not a better fighter than Shakur. He's not. I don't think he is. And then I'm not just using this early footage and film as evidence. I'm looking at, with this film coupled with what we've seen, how they fight for both of their careers. With all the praise I'm giving Devin Haney as well, he's not better than Shakur. He's not. Even if we want to talk about Devin Haney would be bigger, brother, they still, both of them are about the same size in this very clip. Right here, right now. And Devin Haney can't impose his will physically on Shakur that he would want to, and that speed. That way, if we want to say Devin Haney has faster hands, potentially. And even then, I'm not even sure if I can say that confidently. I dare say Shakur might have faster hands than Devin Haney. The jab alone may be the fastest punch that Devin can throw, but everything else is kind of in Shakur's favor, in my estimation. But beyond that, buddy, it doesn't matter because you ain't doing nothing with him. You're not. If, like that, he can still land that same shot. He can still land on Devin Haney today, right now. If they fought next, this is not me trying to overly glaze Shakur. This is me saying that when we talk about the only test that can be put against Shakur is potentially 154 and above. We're not saying that because it's such a we're trying to overly hype or overly, elevate the talent that Shakur is. The biggest test for Shakur right now is Devin Haney, a now fully flushed out Devin Haney. We understand. But I'm telling you right now, as great as we know Devin Haney is, buddy, I do think that Shakur is just a better fighter. And the test of talent and physical ability won't match up to where it needs to be, even with Devin Haney, up until he gets to 154. Devin Haney can beat him, but early on, but I good Lord, man, I just don't know. I don't know. I really don't know, because it's seeming to me more and more. But I think Shakur is that much of a generational great. I mean, good gosh. I think he's that much of a generational great. I really do. I really do. And I want to, again, as an exciting fight, it might not be exciting, but Lord knows, I want to see that transpire. I want to see it transpire. I want to see it happen. Let me say a boxing pro, Hitchens, better jab. I just don't believe it. I just don't believe it. Hitchens got a phenomenal jab. I do not think it's better than Shakur or Haney. Like I said, now again, you want to call me biased? A little bit biased. But I just do not think that it is up to the standard of those other great fighters. But again, that's my opinion. Nonetheless, even still, that right there, that early film. Again, we don't break down film from like years ago. We're not trying to break it down. We're saying that at that stage then, we saw Shakur get the best of Devin Haney. We've seen Shakur become even faster, even bigger, stronger, and even better at anticipation when it comes to openings, countering opportunities, and all-around boxing acumen as a whole. While we've also seen Devin Haney evolve as well since this point in time, Shakur, in my opinion, has reached a higher talent at this point in time. I think he has. There's a reason why Devin Haney's number 8 and Shakur's number 5. It ain't just because of the accolades. It ain't just because of the talent. It's because, it ain't just because of the name, though Devin Haney could be argued as a bigger name. That talent, boy. Well, man, that is something different. It is indeed something different. We still got more to cover on this show. Like I said, we are still in the championship rounds. We still want to hear your thoughts and opinions on anything involving the world of sports. We got a whole bunch of other conversations transpiring. We also got, if you didn't know, again, I'm not trying to make, we just going through the news of the day. If you did not know about another fight that's potentially on the docket, it's the fact that Shakur and Lamont Roach could potentially be running it at 140 or 135, as you can see right here in the Per the Ring magazine. Both of them put out a statement saying essentially, obviously the best fight at 135 is me versus Shakur Stevenson. Whether it's next or not, it'll be a great night. Salute, man. Shakur didn't respond and saying, yeah, bro, you too, respect for not moving like a goofy for a cloud, again referring to how the other people try to call out or rather disrespectfully moving away against Shakur Stevenson. We're going to make it happen for sure. May the best man win. Now, most likely, yeah, Shakur is going to win that. But at 140, I don't know if it's going to be at 140, at 135, especially with the whole situation of Shakur got stripped. If you didn't know, news broke yesterday, Shakur got stripped by the WBC because reportedly, well, again, fact checking for yourself, but reportedly, he, in terms of Shakur, what WBC was demanding $100,000 from Shakur Stevenson's. I think the reported number was 10 million purse against Teo for the money that he gained for the belts that were not even the WBC when he moved up in weight and got that money and got the championships and got the titles and all that stuff. So reportedly that's the reason why we see them stripping him, because he wasn't trying to pay that fee for a belt that he didn't fight for on that night that they were trying to also stick their head in a honeypot with. That also is a horrible look for the likes of the WBC, which again has had a whole bunch of issues from everybody, Terrence Crawford and others, revolving around the reason as to why people are starting to turn their backs on the big green belt that's had all that legacy, because you stealing money from fighters that you shouldn't be touching in that, and people still don't know where that money's going to outside of VADA testing, or rather drug testing as a whole, people don't know where that money's going to support fighters beyond the ring. And it's a problem. And so it's not a good look. But regardless of which, that is a fight that can transpire that we can see nonetheless. And if that is happen, I mean, great. Most likely he's going to be at 140. I hope it's at 140. There's still a lot of fights I want to see Lamont Roach in at 140, as well as Shakur Stevenson. But it just as keep your eye out, because this could be something that does there we go. This could be something that does indeed transpire. But let me keep on reading. Most of the time versus Jermaine Franklin, does the fight go over? Or it goes under. It goes. No, I'm not a betting man, but it goes under. It goes whatever under you think it is, it's under. I said that fight ends in 5 or less. I dare say 3. Because Jermaine Franklin is, mind you, Anthony Joshua could have knocked out Jermaine Franklin if he was not trying to be oh so conservative with rebuilding his confidence in chin and refining his technical or his fundamental skills in boxing. But if he was the AJ that was just, yeah, I'm doing what I do best and you ain't on my level, he would have been out before round 5. Most of the time is fighting in that type of confidence and vein, with no qualms about what he is gonna do. There's no concern. There's no hindrance. There's no blockade against what he's trying to do against his opponent. Because of that, Jermaine Franklin's going to sleep. It's not gonna be close, and it's gonna be destructive. And I got it within 4 rounds. I do. I really do. Not just because of Dillian White. I'd say it's because of also the way that Jermaine Franklin fights. Go watch his last fight against old tall, but I can't remember his name. But he kept on dipping and defensively slipping into the same direction. Moses is going to pick up on that and strictly bait you in there and then take you out. And it's going to be easy pickings. And then world title shot contention comes around this year, and I'm excited for it. Let me see. It seems you can't be any sort of a blob fighting Moses. He's just too fast and explosive. His IQ is improving too. Yes, it is. Granted, it'd be nice to finally see him fighting a ranked opponent who isn't over the hill. Now, again, but be with you are right. But look at the context surrounding his career. He is 15-0, I believe, with about 13 knockouts. Richard Torres has had the same amount of fights as Atalma. And he is just now getting into championship conversation talks of a fight to prep up for a fight for a title. He was in talks to fight Frank Sanchez in the title eliminator. But I think those things fell through. He's in the same career trajectory as Torres right now when it comes to the amount of fights and what they're trying to build towards. So we want him to fight good people, absolutely. But this is also within that window of the process of elevating into championship situations, going up against tougher and tougher opponents. Roy Jones Jr., I think he got his first world title at 20 in his 20th fight. And he was decimating people all before Bernard Hopkins when he beat him. He also was getting the same type of rhetoric. We want to see him get a belt now. Get him in a title shot today. That's not how it works all the time. It can, but that's not how it works all the time. Especially with Usyk reigning over the division. Yeah, build up properly. But he's doing the right stuff. But again, I've said, and I'm sticking to it, by the end of this year, he's going to be a champion, or at least he's going to have a belt around his waist, or be in a position to where he's not just number 1, but a mandatory for one of the 3 champs right now. Truly, I believe it. He's moving correctly. Jermaine Franklin is a step up in competition. After Jermaine Franklin, now we're getting into, after Franklin, we then step into the world of the Zhangs, of the, who's the other brother? In fact, I got a list right now that I can actually pull up and read out to you of the list of names that he can potentially fight at heavyweight that are gang. Not Charles Martin, forget Charles Martin, but he gets into the Big Bang Zhangs, the Ortiz, not Ortiz, Martin Bacolis, the FAA Jogbas, and the Deontay Wilders of this current landscape in boxing. That's what's next for Jermaine Franklin. And once he gets to about 17-0, now championship, you're in position to fight Daniel Dubois, hypothetically. You're in position to fight Ajay Caballel. Winner of that gets a title shot against whoever. You're in a position to where you get, if something goes wrong with another fight, you can be in a position to get and fight the likes of Usyk. If all the chips fall correctly, that's where we see Moses Atama. Because that's how quickly he's moving up. And Philip Hergovich can fight against him. Joseph Parker, he ain't ready for Joseph Parker yet. Or rather, I wouldn't put him against Joseph Parker yet, but he can quickly get to that type of vein, per se. But those types of names are names that he is within this dangerous top 10. He's in the top 10 right now. And so, this slow build is a correct man. Excuse me, he's not 15-0. He's 13-0. My apologies. I had the record wrong. He's 13-0 with 11 KOs. Not 15, but even still. Similar situation as Richard Torres. But he's building the right way. And he's moving quick. He is going to be moving quick. Trust me. Mark my words. Let me see. Moses would absolutely starch Torres in my opinion. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
We got some problems here.
You know how long I've been saying that? But some people just don't believe it. Some people just don't believe in the skill set of Richard Torres. Or excuse me, in the skill set of Atama. Richard Torres is nowhere close to the ability of Moses. He's not close. Richard, and this is, again, I've watched Richard Torres multiple occasions against multiple opponents in stepping up in competition. I have never been impressed with anything about Richard Torres except for his stamina. That's it. He's got an engine now. He's got some good strength. He does. He's a small heavyweight, about 5'11". You got that Mike Tyson-esque type of build. From the standpoint of short and stocky, he's not Mike Tyson. He's just a short, stocky brother in the land of 6'4" and above. I get it. Land of giants, as we call it right now in the heavyweight world. Usyk is small and he's 6'3". Usyk is as big as George Foreman. He's as big as Muhammad Ali. And he's small in this era of heavyweights. I don't hold that against him. I hold the skills that you show when I'm watching you fight and what you should be able to do with your style, and it's not impressing me. It's nowhere close. I'm not saying he's got to be a knockout, but I got to have some concrete stuff. Okay, this brother is more than just a swarmer that can outlast his opponent and wear them down strictly by, I'm just never going to get off of you and you're just going to get tired. That's not going to beat anybody at the elite level. That showing up ain't going to beat Moses Atama. Moses Atama would decimate Richard Torres. I dare say I want them to fight against each other. We want people that are up and coming to fight against other up and coming people. It doesn't have to always be for a title. Let Richard Torres headline a fight with Moses Atama in the States. Let it happen. Let it happen. Let it happen. Let it happen. Opportunity for the likes. I think it's with Top Rank. Let Top Rank make a big time star, or the Zone, whoever the world, make a big time star. Put in a dynamite card underneath it with names that are recognizable, and all to elevate to a heavyweight clash. Even if it's the co-main event, well, it's going to have to be the main event because they're trying to build both of them up as main eventers. Just make it happen, and shut up the noise. Because if we watch, and I promise you, if we are waiting to get those two to fight for a title, it will never happen. Because Richard Torres will never be a champion. He will with the current skills that Richard Torres has been showing in his career, he will never be a champion at heavyweight. He will never. He wouldn't, and that's not me being harsh. That's the truth. He's not good enough to be a champion at heavyweight. He's not. He's not.
We got some problems here.
What's worse, when I say good, I'm not talking about this current point in time. He doesn't have the ceiling with his raw talent to get to a championship opportunity. He doesn't. He doesn't. There's nothing about him. He's touted as the best American heavyweight that we got because Jared Anderson got beat up and he's been looking downward ever since. Sure enough, ain't helped Jake Paul when he fought against him, or when he was prepping for Anthony Joshua. Sure enough, ain't helped him do that. Only thing that he told him to do was run. Bum. Jake Paul's a bum. And Jared Anderson ain't too far behind from the perspective of talent. And he was supposed to be the very things that Usyk was, but potentially even slicker. And lo and behold, got put out. And it's the way that he's gone down since he's been put out. That's just had it. No. He was supposed to be the guy to take the mantle from Deontay Wilder, and he didn't do it. Now it's Richard Torres. And there should not be people saying that he is better than Moses Atama. He's not better than F.A. Ajagba at this point in time. He's not better than Big Bang Zhang right now. Big Bang Zhang's outside of the top 10. The brother that should have beaten Jermaine Franklin, because that last fight, Jermaine Franklin lost that fight. Go watch that fight back. We watched that fight on live stream. For what card was that? Was that the David Benavidez? No, was that the David Benavidez Morrell card? No, was that the David Benavidez versus Yard card? That might have been Benavidez versus Yard. I can't exactly remember. But regardless of which, Jermaine Franklin should have lost his last fight. He got outboxed, and he should have lost that last fight. That opponent would have knocked out Richard Torres. He would. That skyscraper at 6'6", looking like a doggone Terminator. A meaner he looked like a mean version of Tyson Fury. I'm dead serious. And simply get throwing jabs straight right in, damaging as well. But he had a high knockout ratio also. He would have beaten Richard Torres. Jermaine Franklin would have beat Richard Torres. Or fight him to a draw. And if you're fighting Jermaine Franklin to a draw, that's bad. I'm sorry. That's not good. That's not good. That's not good. That's not good at all. If you're fighting Jermaine Franklin to a draw with what you're supposed to be touted as, that ain't good. And if I'm seeing that in you, buddy, you ain't got it. You ain't got it. You showing up ain't got it, man. I'm telling you, boy. Let me see. Jerry Torres has no jab. Even as a small fighter, you should always have a jab. Mike Tyson showed you anything. He showed you that you can still have a great jab even as an undersized fighter. Usyk is showing you that right now. Why the world is it that he ain't got one? He's an Olympic silver medalist. And his butt is burying his head in the sand like Jarrell Miller and throwing hooks to the body. That's not quality for somebody that's supposed to have a pedigree. From as a boxing standpoint, it ain't great. And also, you say, I'm sorry, and you say, well, he's 6'2". Okay, so I got my height wrong. He's 6'2". Smaller, again, still smaller. He's still amongst one of the smaller heavyweights in the landscape of the division right now. Understand him. I was wrong on that sentiment. I do apologize. The point still stands, though. The way he fights is still nothing like what we expect. His pedigree should allow him to fight like. It is not where he should be. He should be well and good, better off. He should be well off from what he is right now as a skillful boxer. Well off. And he's not. And he's not. And it's frustrating. It really is frustrating. Let me see, Jerry Anderson could come back and beat Torres, in my opinion. He might. And that's the fact we have yet to bring up a name that we can say definitively, okay, Torres should be the favorite against. Not even definitively win. We have yet to bring up a name that Richard Torres should even be seen as he's the favorite against him. Yet to bring up a name. Jermaine Franklin maybe is the only one and the opponent of Jermaine Franklin that he fought in his last fight. Outside of that, there has not been a name yet that I've said that he should be a favorite against in this division at all. And he's supposed to be one of the biggest up-and-coming stars that this division is trying to build. That's not good. That ain't good. That's not good at all. Tama and Shakur, the same. Now, I don't know what you mean by that. They both great. But I don't know if they. I don't know if they're afraid now. Let me see. Only Atama can afraid Usyk. He could. I will say, if there was a boxer that if Usyk doesn't stay around for this 5-fight deal that he said he wants to have, fight until he's 41. His words, not mine. He said he wants to fight until he's 41. If he doesn't stay around that long, and if we don't see anybody else in this division giving him any trouble, which understandably so, with how he's cleaned out every one of the best in this division, Atama could be the guy to do it. And even Fury's like, I'm not messing with that monster. Fury said to himself, I'm not fighting that brother. Usyk respects the skill set. And if it gets to a position where he's got to fight him, yeah, he could be. You want to talk about somebody that's got the skill set and the speed to have the potential to put you in a dangerous way? It's a talent. He's got that type of elevated cap. By the time Usyk is on the downtrend, Atama could be there to be the guy. Okay, yeah, he's good enough to be here, and you're just bad enough now that he can take you out. But it's gonna be close. But you can do it. He can put some fear. He puts some fear in a lot of people. Absolutely. Let me see. I was telling someone, Oswa, commenting to Boxing Pro Oswa. I was telling someone the same thing, that Atama is basically heavyweight Shakur. Let me think. Hold on. Let me think about it. Let me think about it. Let's sit and ponder this real quick. Moses Atama, seen as the heavyweight version of Shakur Stevenson. Now that sound. Can you elaborate if you would? I don't want to say that you're wrong. If you want to talk about somebody that can just wipe out a division by himself, I can see that. But I don't see the parallels in the same way. But I'm interested to see why you say that. I'm interested. Why would Atama be seen as the heavyweight version of Shakur? They fight completely differently. Their mentality is completely different. The skills are incredible, mind you. But we're not saying that Atama is even the most skilled heavyweight in his division right now. We're saying he can get there. But he's not even there yet. Shakur right now already is. In multiple divisions. I'm interested. I'm not trying to shoot you down. I want to see what you're seeing so I can have my eyes open, per se. Because I don't see it, but I do see the greatness that both of them can achieve. But I don't see the comparison as to how he will be this version Shakur. If anything, Moses Atama is another callback to the old era of heavyweights that were going and trying to not just be well-rounded and mobile, but had the skill sets of smaller guys. I'm not comparing the greatness, but similar to what we've seen to the activity of an Evander Holyfield. Similar to what we see to the activity of what's another great heavyweight who was front foot forward, had a lot of volume, was very sharp with the shots, could really piece you up. See, there's so many of them. But I don't want to say names because it's going to think I'm putting them in the same pedestal. I'm not. I know I'm not. But I know it's there. The best thing I can think of, he's got the offensive capabilities in some degree of Evander Holyfield, the version of him that was just strictly sitting down and trying to swing it. I mean, swinging. Imagine Evander Holyfield fighting strictly in the way that he fought against Riddick Bowe. Not as much movement. And more so sitting down, okay, we trying to throw with some conviction all day long. That's as close to a somewhat comparison I can see with Moses Town. Now, if I'm wrong, please enlighten me. Absolutely. I need to hear. I need to hear if I'm going way too far. I'm not comparing the greatness. I'm strictly comparing the velocity at which he can throw. What exactly he would be a callback to. I could see that. He ain't Edson Charles. He ain't Archie Moore. He ain't Floyd Patterson. Definitely ain't Mike Tyson. He's not. He doesn't fight like Tommy Morrison. Sure don't fight like Lennox Lewis. He's not. Who's another one? He's not Shandy Cannon Briggs. He definitely ain't George Foreman. I think Holyfield is about the best apropos comparison in an aggressive, more flat-footed, volume punching Holyfield. He's not better. Be clear. He's not better. Never saying that. But those type of attributes is what I can see. But at least that's me. But I just don't see. I don't see the Shakur comparison. I'm just trying to figure it out. I don't see what y'all are seeing in it. I'm trying to think. What the world could make most of the time with the Shakur of the heavyweight world? It's not the defense. It's not the... Is it the elevated skill set of just everything involving him is sharper than just about everybody else in the division save one person? Is it that? Is it the same similar with Shakur? Everything comes out sharp with great timing and he's always in control and there is a sense of calm and ease in every situation. For a talent that's somewhat similar for the talent level that we've seen him face thus far. Working to be able to box and still, even when he's trying to go for the kill, he never loses his cool. When he's boxing with somebody, he's very patient and setting stuff up, looking to say, I'm gonna get you. I know what you're gonna do, and I'm gonna make it so that you fall right into my trap. If it's like in that vein, okay, I can see it in some degree. I can somewhat make sense of it, but not. Y'all gotta elaborate so I can really see the real crux of reasoning. So I can be on board with you if indeed I feel it is right. But ladies, that's just my thoughts on it anyway. But like I said, is there anything else anybody wants to talk about in the world of boxing and beyond, whether it's the NBA, NFL, or anything involving the world of sports as a whole? Like I said, we are going through, then this is still the whole show is championship rounds. We want to hear from you on anything regarding the world of sports, absolutely. Your conversation, your voice, your opinions, and all. We will love to hear from you, absolutely. But if no, like I said, we're going as long as you all want to go. We're trying to give you time, but if nobody else has anything want to say, we're not going to drag the show on, and we're going to end it and let you all enjoy your afternoon. Absolutely. Last call, like I said before, for the world of boxing and sports as a whole. We can go through some, we can do a kind of a quick fire of some of the other things involving the world of sports ethos. You got Nick Ball versus Figueroa fighting. Is that Saturday? This Saturday. I'm not gonna lie. I almost forgot about that fight with all with the Teofimo Lopez fight. I about forgot that Brandon Figueroa and Nick Ball were fighting against each other for the WBA championship, and Nick Ball defending his title. This could set up a fight with Shoo Carrington versus Nick Ball. Hopefully, we finally see Shoo, now that he's got a belt, goes and tries to attack the rest of the division and puts everybody's essentially radar on notice that we're going to get this thing moving. And 126 has been stagnant for way too long. Hopefully that's the case. I'm begging. I'm pleading. I'm praying. We finally see that happen because I have been waiting on this division to heat up. We've had too many people calling out anyway. We've had too many people looking for the monster instead of trying to become their own monster in this division of one 26. And if they did that better, I would love to see, or if they were more fervent with that, I would love to see it. But as you can see, Nick Ball versus Figueroa, they are fighting this Saturday. I got Nick Ball winning by unanimous decision going into a war against Figueroa, who also is going to want to fight on the inside. We're going to see a very good fight. Also, if again, this was the quote I was trying to show you all of Chisora saying that Daniel Dubois, Fabian Wardley, looking to fight each other for Wardley's title as the next potentially big breaking out fight at 126 at heavyweight. Excuse me. We can see make it happen. Also, when it comes to the actually, this is actually the clip I wanted to play when it came to Chris Mannix talking about his own opinions on WBC and that whole debacle with them stripping him of the belt. I did want to play that clip. I just forgot to play it while we were talking, essentially while we were on the subject, man. I actually got to play that early on. But let me, real quick, we got people in the chat. Like with Truth. Truth, what's going on with you? How you doing? Good to see you. Thank you for tuning into the show. What's happening here with us on today? Seijo is fighting tomorrow. He's fighting in French. I didn't know Seijo was a good guy. That quick. Seijo's fighting again in French. Shoot. That completely left my mind. My goodness. My word. Godly. That completely slipped my mind. Thank you for the updates. We got Seijo returning to doing after the war. I think he had a war with but yeah, he gave a very good fight to Diego Pacheco. And now he's fighting again in France. I forgot that fight would actually happen. Thank you for giving me the update on that so I can actually keep tabs on it. So appreciate it. Also appreciate you coming in on our stream. But real quick, in regards to this clip I did want to play with Chris Mannix talking about the WBC stripping Shakur Stevenson. I delved into it a little bit. But let me give you his thoughts as to why he feels this is indeed, his words, disgusting.
That is as crooked.
And y'all can't hear it. Hold on one second. Wait 1 minute. Hold on. There we go. All right. Chris Mannix on Shakur getting stripped.
That is as crooked and shady as you can possibly get. And for the WBC to do this now, when sanctioning bodies are under attack, when the sanctioning system is under attack, this is a glaring example about why maybe they shouldn't exist. Maybe they shouldn't be in boxing if you are going to reach into the pocket of a fighter like Shakur Stevenson, ask for $100,000. According to Shakur, there's been no comment on this from the WBC. I asked for one. I talked to a member of their staff, said, tell me what's going on here. And all I've seen is the Instagram post from the WBC saying they were stripping him. To reach into the pocket of a fighter for a fight that you have nothing to do with and asking for $100,000. I don't care how much money Shakur Stevenson made that night. That's his money. That belongs in his pocket. The WBC had nothing to do with it. It is disgusting. Disgusting that they stripped Shakur Stevenson of that belt. And Shakur would be right to never fight for a WBC belt ever again.
And he's doggone right. You better believe it. You better believe it.
We got some problems.
This is the... And I'm not. We're trying to touch on multiple things here. We're trying to do kind of like a quick rundown of the other things involving the world of sports and beyond. But this is the Chris Mannix is right. You have to understand. Really put this into perspective. Shakur got stripped for a belt that he didn't fight for. He got stripped because he didn't pay money to a belt that wasn't on the line in a division that again he was moving up to. That was not attached in any way to the WBC championship in any regard. There was no big green belt involved at all in this clash, and he still got stripped because they asked for $100 million because he won a fight that the WBC wasn't even belonging to, strictly because he had a belt in a different division. This is what people said that Crawford was overreacting. People said that Crawford was going through and doing too much when they were asking for $300,000 from him, which was more than what was agreed upon by the other sanctioning bodies. When Crawford said we all came to an agreement and the IBF, WBA, and WBO all agreed to play the same thing and you're trying to charge more, that's not where we rocking with. Took his ball and go home. That ain't right. It's not right then. It's showing up ain't right now. And we talk about Zuffa and all the issues with Zuffa, but this is what makes Zuffa look like a real promising aspect in boxing to make changes, because people are looking at this and saying, well, if they're able to do this here, they may be Zuffa a one belt system that ain't anything attached to the bodies that keep on being greedy. Maybe that's what we need to make happen. All of a sudden, maybe they look more tantalizing to the eyes and to the hearts of boxing fans, because now, and fighters as a whole, because now they're getting valued. As much as we want to say that Zuffa's got issues, and they do have issues, as much as we want to say we got some concerns about Dana White, and we do have concerns about Dana White, we can always still look at this and say, well, what they're competing against ain't much better when it comes to the way that the sanctioning bodies in boxing work right now. You are shooting yourself in the foot to keep the power that you got. And we're saying that your own power, you can reform it right now if you so chose. But you keep on making those same mistakes that make us say you shouldn't exist. And we love the history. We love the identity that those belts hold. We have no issue with that. Or even though we think that there's too many belts, they've at least got enough history where, okay, you can buy into why they mean something, the weight of them, sure. But even that's going to get lost in the shuffle. And the legacy that Ali, Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, and all these other champions, Andre Ward, Roy Jones Jr., any of them, all that type of history for all these other belts is getting besmirched when these belts act in a way that take away from the fighters that make their legacy relevant in the first place. And again, shooting themselves in the foot. Don't be surprised if we see Shakur Stevenson do what Ricky Bo did. Throw that belt in the trash. He'll fight for it, he'll win it, and then he'll immediately drop it. And just say, I don't need this. If he's undisputed champ, he'll say, I'm undisputed without this belt, because this belt means nothing. He will single-handedly do work to try to make sure that that belt means obsolete, if he so chooses. Strictly because they're doing the same stuff they did to Crawford, that they done to other fighters in the past. It's a shame. It really is a shame. And but they are digging their own grave on a consistent basis, and it's frustrating because we know they can be better. We know they can. We know they should be better. We know they should be better, and they're
that is as
willingly
and shady.
I'm sorry about that.
As you can possibly.
Didn't mean to play the clip, or didn't mean to keep. I thought I had to pause, but either way. That's the issue. That is the frustration. It's like, I hate it. I despise it. But either way, sadly, we got to deal with it. Sadly, we had to deal with it. And it's tiring. That's really what it is. It is tiring. You have to deal with this over and over and over again. Because boxing should be better. The sports world as a whole should be better. We know that it can, in fact, be better. But continually, it's just, oh, I almost forgot. More stuff with we always didn't play any clips with Canelo. Because we talked about him, we didn't get to play it. This is in response to him talking about his body failing him in the ranks of fighting against Terrence Crawford. As we covered that earlier in the show, they finally put out a clip of him, putting out clips of the podcast that I think was coming out today, that he was saying to answer these questions about what he was doing, what he was not doing, against Terrence Crawford. So I'll let him speak for himself on what exactly went wrong and what happened to his body that he was saying he just couldn't do what he wanted to do. I'll let him speak right now. Let me make sure y'all can see it first. Yep, y'all can see. Okay, here we go.
I try, but my body doesn't respond. I have cramps in my legs, so doesn't respond the way I really want. But, it is what it is. We learn from that and we move forward. And I know what mistakes I made in the fight and in the camp too. But that's what it's boxing about. I think a winner doesn't mean you need to win every time. No? you need to learn from everything, from the losses, take the losses, and learn from that, and move forward, and still doing the things you love.
Forgot I was on mute. As you can see, same thing. Crazy enough, the same thing that happened to Manny Pacquiao. Legs cramped up, legs lost their vigor, couldn't move. Now, granted, we were also saying that in that fight he looked like he was boxing in a way that still was indeed A-okay. More than that, was doing stuff in that fight that we were saying he hadn't done in a mighty long time from the perspective of a championship type of performance. Better at cutting off the ring, was more deliberate, was more aggressive, looking to still use that high guard and catch and shoot a lot more, trying to go and be more active in his stalk and walk approach, which we were saying he wasn't against William Skull. He still just got beat straight up. And so because of that, how do we say this? Body failed him. True. It's not an excuse. Not saying that he's using it as an excuse. At the same vein, what exactly did you do differently that caused that to happen? What exactly did you, because you never had this happen before. And you still look like you weren't cramping. You didn't look like you were cramping up going up against him. I'm not saying I don't believe, but I just think he got beat straight up. I think he got beat and go back to the question I said earlier. Can this brother change? I don't care if he sees the issues. I don't care that he sees the problems. I don't care that he's able to pinpoint what exactly struggled and what exactly went wrong. I don't think he can change to make it better for him. I don't think he can change to turn it around. I don't. Because I think it's not because he's stuck in his ways. It's, can you teach an old dog new tricks? I don't know. More importantly, can you teach an old dog tricks that, in all honesty, the dog just doesn't have the capability to learn at this age, at this point in time? Because the drastic shift that may have to come through to make it so that change can occur may not happen. It might not transpire. Truly, it might not transpire. So it's like, or he just ain't capable of it. So I'm
Benji.
Lord, I'm sorry, Stubbs playing on trying to get the play. But even still, that's my concern with Canelo, essentially. And this will be the last thing, and we'll wrap this show up and send it home. I just don't know how Canelo can improve off of that performance. Not just because he was beaten so totally, but because he himself I don't know if he can fight better than that from this point on. Yes, he's going to be able to beat most people still. But if he ever gets to fight with the elite of the elite again, like the David Benavidez's, which is still a huge fight that can still happen, like with even the Hamzat Shiraz's right now that still are, from a perspective of physicality, have everything to give you trouble that you had perceived to have trouble with going against David Benavidez from that physical build perspective. I don't know how much you can just be as dominant. I just don't know. We're going to find out as time goes on. But even still, if nobody else has anything they want to ask and talk about, I think we covered everything that we can cover on this show thus far. I'll check and see if there's any other breaking news that's transpired that we can potentially break on air with us today. Hold on a minute. Hold on. I ain't got no drum roll, but let me see. Is there anything else that we can cover? Anything else that we can talk about to entertain the masses? Absolutely. Hold on. Wait a minute. And there is nothing new. Okay, so that means we can wrap this show up, send it home, and go about our day. Absolutely. So with all that being said, hopefully you all had a great. Wait, hold on. Time out. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. We got, in the whole saga of Terrence of Jerome Boots Ennis, we just got ourselves another conversation. Hold on a second. Wait a minute. Wait 1 minute. Hold on a minute. Yep, here we go. Let me play this clip. This is news on Boots versus Josh Kelly as a potential fight, breaking from the word of Eddie Hearn himself. Hold on a minute. Let me play the clip right now for you all to witness and see.
How likely do you think Kelly versus Boots is, or by either going in different
The
directions?
terms are agreed, but Josh doesn't have to fight him if he doesn't want to. Josh wants big money and he wants the biggest fights. There is the potential always of a stadium fight in Sunderland. It would be quite incredible. Josh is the first ever, world champion from Sunderland. So maybe Boots goes to the UK. Maybe Xander Zayas goes to the UK. Maybe we do Xander Zayas against Josh Kelly Puerto Rican weekend at Madison Square Garden. I mean, Josh has cracked it. He really has. And he's going to want the big fights. We know with the IBF, that dreaded mandatory comes around very quickly. So he's going to want to make a move, and we'll discuss that with him and Adam this weekend.
How likely do you think Kelly?
There you go. See now. See, I'm sorry. I'll just play the clip live because I thought it was going to be something a little bit more spicy, where it's like, he's signed, but something's going on. But no, it's just confirming Josh Kelly signed on to the fight, but he doesn't have to fight him. And if he chooses to, great. If he doesn't, well, we got options nonetheless. But even still, we're going to wrap the show up and send it home. We appreciate all of you tuning into the show. And with all of that being said, thank you so much for being a part of the Watch with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch. Hopefully you had a great time. Hopefully you had a bunch of fun. Hopefully you truly did enjoy what we had going on today. Hopefully I made your day a little bit brighter. Hopefully I had you engaged and entertained for the whole of this show and made your afternoon go a little bit better. No question about it. Thank you to all who tuned in and chatted on stream. Y'all were wonderful. Y'all were beautiful. Top 5 chatters for this show going underway. Number 5 was Darvin Ham Jr. Number 4 was Boxing Nerd. Number 3 was Guitar Man. Number 2 was Legendary Super Saiyan. Number 1 was Boxing Pro, coming in and taking about the number 1 spot as the best chatter on today's episode per the YouTube rankings themselves. Can you hold on to that number 1 again? We'll find out come next week. We appreciate all of you tuning in on this support. I'm not going to be able to do the live stream for this weekend because we're going to be doing Super Bowl parties and all that stuff. I'm going to go ahead and have myself a time. We're going to be watching the biggest game of the year between Seattle and the Patriots. They got Seattle winning this and getting revenge on the Patriots. We're going to find out come Sunday, but I can't wait to be with you all. We're going to be talking about more stuff in the world of boxing and beyond. Come on Tuesday. Be here, same time, same place, same channel. We appreciate all of you tuning in to the show. Y'all were wonderful, absolutely. And we can't wait to join in with you all next time. Be safe, be blessed. Rate us 5 stars on your podcasting platform. Listen to us while you listen to podcasts. Subscribe to the channel. Come on and join the empire. Keep on sharing the show with everybody that you know so we can keep on building this empire together. And also be sure to leave a like on the video before you get on out of here to help push this video out to the algorithms and let everybody know about the hottest place in all the globe, on the hottest show in all the globe, to watch with me, your host, Jean-Luc Welch, with the greatest community that we got all here on this show. Thank you all for tuning in. If you can support the channel one last time as a plug, we got Cash App, we got PayPal, Cash App, but wait, where is that? Cash App, PayPal, links down below in the description, as well as super chats and super gifts and all that stuff. If you would like to support the channel, it would mean the world to me. No question about it. We can't do this without you all, and you all help make this show so special. Help me pay some bills and help me to go through and make this show bigger, better, and stronger, all for your viewing and listening pleasure. But I've been Jean-Luc Welch. Y'all have been wonderful. Yes, indeed. Peace and love. Oh, we are out here. Yes, sir. We gonna see you all next week on Tuesday. Be safe. Be blessed. Peace and love. Salute to you. And we out of here. Yes, indeed.